Both of us.
I wanted us to have it before we start, but unfortunately.
If I mention their names, they'll be upstanding and I'll give them a round of applause. Now, to kickstart remarks from the convener, Reverend Evans, Chairman, sir. Put your hands together for him as he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate the young man. Oh, you can do better than that. Reverend, we are waiting for you. Put your hands together for him again. Hello.
Please wipe on your son for me, please. Good morning to every one of you. You are all welcome to Ghana Youth Agric Summit 2023. My first remark is that I believe that this is the time for all of us. This is the time for the youth of Ghana to advantage of the system and move our nation forward. I believe that looking at what is happening around the world and how our agri sector needs a lot of attention, and more especially, that is where the future is going, and that is where the future is. If we can make every one of you here become an agribusiness entrepreneur, an agri-tech practitioner, and a farmer, and a food or agri-food shorter than that, Ghana would be a full secure nation. I thought we put us together on that one. Workshops and talk shop ongoing across the nation. We are seeing. And personally, I have committed myself with my team, moving as many as we can here to the ground to making sure that we will train you and put you in your various places of interest in the of God. After 1 year, you have been killed and welcome. God bless you.
Video, and that will be the video to depict one of the success stories Our first speaker is a development worker and founder of Farmer Tribe Company Limited, a social enterprise providing timely access to agricultural inputs, training, market to smallholder farmers.
Reply, some of them we consult with each other. I mentored quite a few. And what it boils down to is starting. Just as Bauer said, you have to start something. And all the time, those who reached out to me and I spoke with them, they had a lot of questions. They said, this is happening, that is happening. Should I wait for next year? You enough. So even if we are giving you the experience from our various activities, you need to start something. Nokia, as we all know, because of Nokia phones and a whole lot of things they have done, started in 1865 as a paper mill. They were doing what we call the toilet rolls. And with time, they kept on inventing, they kept on changing, they kept on planning, they pivoted, and we got to know them as the popular Nokia phones, which most of us have held with time. Then there was Samsung. Samsung right now, their campus in Korea is almost about 2 cities big. There are workers who work for Samsungs and don't know even each other. But what did they start with? They started exporting dried Korean fish. Dried Korean fish. And we all know what Samsung has become like. I'm not saying you are building Samsung or something, but you need to start. No matter how imperfect you think your plan is, start something. Make mistakes along the way. Correct yourself. Get up, ask questions, keep on putting in the work, and with time you will find your perfect balance. I was speaking with Reverend Evans, and he said he started with sorghum production because he had a contract to supply to companies, and he started with sorghum production. When he started, along the way, he saw the issues that has got to do with sorghum production, and with time, he pivoted to cassava and right now has acreages upon acreages of cassava farms. And that's because he started something, learn, talk, consult, seek advice, and has pivoted and also doing the large acreages he is doing, as we all know now. So the little I will say is start something. You don't need to wait like this is the perfect time, because things keep happening. Things keep changing, and it will continue to change so far as we are in a society. So today, you want to finish SS, go to the university. The next time, university coursework is difficult. Let me finish the university. The next time I have finished university, there are people who depends on me. Let me finish national service. You have finished national service, then you go back. Let me get a job, work for 1 or 2, gather money. You now work for 1 or 2, you gather money. Then the money is not enough, because now you are thinking whether a male or female, you want to get a good room, build something, do something for the family, and also a whole lot of social responsibility. So before you realize, today, tomorrow, the next day, you keep on postponing, then all of a sudden you'll be watching television, or you'll be in a discussion. Someone is doing something, say, oh, I thought of this plan when I was in secondary school, or I thought of this business when I was in the university I wanted to do, but someone is doing it. And that is because that person took took a bold step. You can never plan anything perfectly, especially in the agri sector. If it's for other sector, maybe you will get closer to being or to develop a perfect plan. But in the agri sector, nothing like perfect. That one I won't lie. There is nothing perfect in the sector. So you need to start. You can't plan everything to how many acres. You can't even control the rain. So I will say start something. Don't overthink it. Bauer started. He took a leap of faith. He started. I know he has learned a lot. He has also gained a lot. He can now expand or maybe veered into other crops or other activities within the sector. Also, most often when we talk about the agri sector, we mostly look We mostly look at the production aspect of it. That's why I'm happy during our breakout session, we'll be discussing the various value chains. They are off-farm, on-farm, and post-harvest activities that you can develop business around it. I once met a gentleman, he's a student at, Legon. And his work, or the whole idea, is to go to companies that are processing maize, rice, and the rest. Speak with them. Do you need maize? He said, yes, we need maize, but our suppliers are not able to meet our demand. Then now he takes that word from the procurement officers or the companies, then come to the north, because he's from the north. So on vacation, he moves around communities after communities looking for maize farmers. Are you getting someone to supply? Do you have maize? How much is the price? He gets back to the company. Oh, we have maize in this location. This is the volume. They can meet your demand. How much are you selling? Then whatever price the government, the company is giving, he comes to the farmers and reduce it by maybe 2 or 3 cities. Link with the farmers, they load and send it to the company in Accra. The company receives the goods, confirm everything. Within a week, make payment to him. He gives the farmers their money and take his commission. And according to him, that's how he's paying for universities. So per consignment, if he's getting even 2 cities, the whole truckload he's getting 2,000, 3,000. That is on a smaller scale. So imagine if he wants to expand to outside his location where he is living currently, he will be earning money. And that's putting in no money, just linking the farmers to the manufacturing companies. There are a whole lot of things. Right now, the big aspect of the agriculture value chain is supply chain. You have goods in the village. You want to move to a customer in Accra. There is no car coming. There is no, the market cars comes and they are full. You can't pick your grains. Maybe you can develop something, link drivers and say, oh, we have products, half load here, quarter load here. Can you go on that stretch and pick the full load, bring it to Accra, supply it, and the suppliers or the farmers will pay for the cost of transportation. There are other sectors you can do without even visiting a farm or in the comfort of your dormitory with just a laptop and a telephone. So let's start thinking about it and stop waiting for the perfect time, because no matter what, it will not come. Today you try your hands on A, you make a mistake, you go back and address it, or you see an opportunity in B, you move to B, you keep on trying till you find your niche, or till you find what you think is best for you and is comfortable for you. Then you can grow something. We all know Amazon started delivering books.
And she's also accredited member with the International Coaching Federation. She's a human
nostalgia. And my father was at Unity Hall, KNUST alumnus. Good morning once again to all of you. And I want to say congratulations to Reverend Tremesa and his team for the great work that you are doing. Let's put our hands together for them. I hope by the time I'm done with my Ntuantua, the presentation will be up on the screen. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here to share a bit with you. And I'm going to speak about capacity building, training, entrepreneurship, and how through that women and the youth can receive the transformation that helps them to contribute to economic development. I love the bit where Spenica said, in the agric sector, as for the agric sector, I'm a farmer. I didn't come out strongly enough in my introduction. I'm a farmer in the livestock. Thank you. Can you see my slides? Can we reduce the light a little bit? Maybe it will help. She said that in the agric sector, you cannot plan anything perfectly. And I was smiling because I've done a lot of forecasting in the investment banking space, and we do a lot of planning and looking into the future and predicting the economy and all that. And there as well, you can't plan anything perfectly. When it comes to my home, bringing my children up as well in church sector, so I think we can agree that there's nowhere in the world where you can plan anything perfectly. and especially in today's world. I'm going to have a quick conversation. Can we go to the next slide? And I'll be highlighting the reason why you cannot plan anything perfectly in today's world. It's the economic context, which we call the VUCA and the bunny. Some of you may be familiar with the VUCA, but maybe not the bunny. And then I'll share a quick story about the Greek titan Prometheus. And then we'll look at, there's something sitting in the middle of my slides there, the transformation that we all need to go through so that we will adequately contribute to our economic development as youth and as women and girl children. And I'll share a few tips about ideas that we can follow in order to achieve some level of capacity building to support our contribution, like the way Reverend Tremesa and his team are contributing. And then I'll conclude with the relationships. Can we go to the next slide? So there are interesting things happening around the world. You would have heard about the Russia-Ukraine war. It's a very popular one after the COVID-19 pandemic, which also destabilized our world a little bit. Am I affecting the screen? Destabilized our lives a little bit, taught us what hybrid working and remote working means. We also had shocks to our supply chains. And so supply of fertilizer into Ghana, for example, has been impacted. We've also had impact on cereals and other crops that we imported into the country. This creates the opportunity for us to fill in the gap, as well as I've seen a transition towards organic fertilizer being promoted locally, because now we can't get the inorganic like we used to get it. There is business models being challenged, the way we used to do business. You no longer can do it that way because of the reset that has happened. And that's one of the reasons why you can't plan anything perfectly. We used to have a world that was linear. And so let me quickly jump to what we mean by VUCA. VUCA meaning the world is volatile, it is uncertain, it's complex, and also ambiguous. And you have to take into consideration so many diverse factors before you can take one single decision. And so if you happen to miss one little factor, then it doesn't make your plan robust enough, and that's why we can't plan perfectly. Bunny is the one that is not very famous, and it stands for brittle, it stands for anxious, it stands for non-linearity, and the I stands for incomprehensibility. So the extra thing that is happening with our world today is that everything is so fragile, and if you don't handle it with care, you lose it. The anxiety is talking about the rates at which people are on edge, the people that are your customers, the people that are your suppliers, the people that you are reporting to, somebody sitting somewhere in your stakeholder grouping. It's anxious, it's having sleepless nights. And so the world has come to a point where in our decision makings and in our planning, if we are going to be effective, then we have to be sensitive to the state of mind of the people that we are dealing with, and requiring us to show a lot of empathy. And then we have the N for non-linearity. Think about it like a spaghetti. It used to be that if we are planning, we know you put the seed in the ground, you make sure that it's watered, in a few days' time it should germinate. But now, depending on the source of the seed, you may put it down there and it will not germinate the second time if you stored seed from last year's crop, because there's something going on there and it's no longer linear. A plus B is no longer going to take you to C. And you have to be mindful and prep yourself so that in your decision making, you make room to accommodate surprises. You may go upwards, backwards, sideways, belly up before you finally arrive at your destination from the beginning to the end. And all these are also acceptable in a non-linear world. And the I being incomprehensibility tells you that it's not possible in today's world to understand absolutely everything before you move. So like Spenica was saying, don't expect that you have all your information you've analyzed and they make sense before you make that move. Because just when what you have is beginning to make sense, it has already changed. And if you stay there trying to get understanding, comprehensibility, you will never take that action. You better take the action and correct it on the move. And so I want to share this quick story about Prometheus. And the myth is about knowledge and power. The story has it that in the ancient days, gods, abosom, they had fire, but human beings didn't have fire, so we ate our food raw. When winter came, we were cold, and we tried to hibernate. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't make the metal equipment and implements. We couldn't put up a structure like this because we didn't know fire. But the gods had fire, and they were hoarding it. They were hiding it from people. They didn't want people to have access to this. But Prometheus was maybe a rebel, and he cared about people, so he decided to go out there, sneak some of the fire, and come and give it to humans. The Greeks, according to the myth, have the gods thinking that knowledge and power were reposed in fire. And so having that knowledge and keeping it to themselves denied humans of the development that they could attain. But when Prometheus stole and brought some of the fire to humans, now humans could eat delicious charcoal grilled food and really enjoy it. We could melt metals and begin to mold agric implements. And that was the beginning of human civilization and development. But he had to pay a dear price. The gods chained him to a rock, and every day an eagle was permitted to eat his liver. Overnight, that liver grew anyway, somehow. And then the eagle will come the following day again to eat it. The moral of this story I'm sharing is just to highlight the fact that we are talking about capacity building. And capacity building has to do with knowledge and the power that goes with it. But also remember that, like Prometheus, there is a price that we pay in order to attain that capacity, which is capability to set and to work towards the achievement of development goals that we have for ourselves or for our community. If we can go back to the third slide, I want to quote Mr. Andrew Ahiaku just 2 days ago when the Color Leadership Conference. And the statement he made, which I think is a good summary, is that knowledge and power, when it comes to knowledge and power, we should build capacity before capital. A lot of us, as soon as we start hearing Spenica challenge and inspire us to take action, we start talking about money. But he's saying that we should build capacity before capital. And we'll get into that in just the next slide. Shall we continue? You need to pay a price to get that knowledge. At the 335th assembly, back, 335th definition, assembly of the International Labour Organization. You just passed it. Yes. The governing body defined capacity building as the process by which individuals, communities, organizations obtain. Take note, it doesn't end at obtaining, but to strengthen and to also maintain capabilities to set and to also achieve that which they set. And they set their own developmental goals and objectives over time. That's what capacity means. And so when we talk about capacity, capability, we are talking about you being equipped initially, working to sustain that which you have equipped, and being in a place where you have the power to set your own developmental agenda and to work towards its achievement. Hello? So I want you to think about Ghana, where we are right now in our developmental agenda, and ask yourself where our capacity building level is when you just oppose it with where we have reached with our development. And so in capacity building, we are looking at the various industries, the people in there, the processes, the frameworks, and the policies. Let's go to the next slide. So in capacity building, we are looking at the skill sets of the people, the competencies. What do you know how to do? How efficiently can you do it? What are the most effective technologies to apply? This morning I was having a conversation about technology with an expert here, Lawyer Richard, about that. So what do you have that you are using to advance towards the set developmental objective? And you can see that in our part of the world, we still do subsistence farming. Let's go back to my slide, please. Not so quick. Let's go back to the slide you just moved. We have remained at the subsistence level of farming, and it's not contributing to our food sovereignty. And that's why we have huge imports of rice. We have the poultry industry suffering from shocks in corn supply annually. This shouldn't be the case if we embrace technology, because we have the competencies to produce these and make use of these technologies locally. Capacity building brings about efficiency, and it also ensures that the kind of policies that we are implementing, they are correct policies. I think that also came up somewhere in a conversation today. Are the policies right for our context, for our circumstances? If the policy look good on paper, like I heard, but it does not lead to achievement of our developmental objectives, then it is moot. Training is also a process by which we impart knowledge. So training is a subset of capacity building. Capacity building is broader. You may learn through various avenues. And the correlation between capacity building and its subset, training, and economic growth is positive. The more you know, the more you understand and are able to apply, the better the scale and scope of your contribution to the achievement of our developmental goal. So we would see an improvement in the quality of life. The per capita real income levels will go up, expansion in wealth creation in the economy. But if we are going to attain this, then it has to start with transformation of our mindset. Why have we always done things the way we have done it hundreds of years? The way our parents did it, the same way. Hoe, cutlass, we bend over one by one. We have some shoddy shed in which we try to store our product. We still use the sun to dry our cocoa beans. And we have huge post-harvest losses, which are a challenge and at the same time opportunities as well. So we are saying that in order for us to get over this hurdle, we need to reset our minds the same way that the world has reset. Let's question how we think. Let's question, somewhere in there I talk about shifting from what? Say ya na ye no to adenti na ye sa. Why are we doing it like that? Maybe the reason that made it sensible for us to do it, it's no longer prevalent, and it's time to adopt a new approach so that we can meet our current context and needs. And this is leadership. Leadership starting with yourself, because you are the one that you can ultimately have control over. You can't change somebody, but you can change yourself. And so let's question the way we think and view and perceive life and agric in general. We have kept to ourselves when it comes to information sharing and communication, but that's one area where there's also a lot of room for us to collaborate, to get real-time information, knowledge, upgrade our capabilities so that our output would be more in the agric sector. Adaptability. When the world changes, you also change yourself. And so if there are newer implements, if there are newer technologies that help us to get higher productivity, higher yields, let's embrace them, so long as they are ethical and sustainable in the long term. And then there is the interpersonal bit. I think Bawa was saying that initially he wanted to be in the biology space, maybe medical fields, but he developed some interest and he's ended up doing something in the agric space. We are not all equal, and not all of us are meant to deliver along certain lines. Some of us will be medical doctors, some of us will be farmers, and some of us will be something and in addition farmers. I think it's a very noble and divine thing to be able to provide food which provides sustenance for human life. So you should be proud, very proud of yourself. You should feel very, very proud of yourself when you are contributing. Thank you, when you are contributing towards food production. And that is why you should look at the backyard, the flower pots at home to see what you can grow in it, just to participate in this very divine activity. And we have to do this because of all the changes in the marketplace. The conditions are changing, regulations, technology, and customer demands. Those who are familiar with exports to the EU zone, they are coming up with new requirements, right? And so you need to pay attention to these developments. They will shake your comfort zone. And you need to go after this information so that you don't produce only to have you at the point of destination that they didn't meet the required standards. And to achieve this, we also have to work together. I was happy to see the number of speakers on this program, diverse background. And I believe that in the room as well, you are also coming from very different backgrounds, different kinds of personalities. But we bring our diversity here to contribute to more robust solutions to the food security situation that we face on this continent. Next slide. So I've already touched on this, that we take a back seat with the why and we try to look at the why and the how. And I'm referencing some work that has been done by the Harvard Business Review. It is time where you begin to think for yourself, question, make your own decisions, and find your own ways. You are okay, and you are capable of doing that. And it is in bringing your own contribution forward that we will make the progress that we seek. Not in relying on only one or two people's almost archaic ideas. You have to be in a place where you are willing to make mistakes. A lot of us, we are cultured, we are trained and brought up not to experiment. But it is in the experimentation and trying out and making mistakes that we are actually able to achieve a higher form of learning, which is experiential. When you haven't made enough mistakes, there's a lot of learning which should contribute to your capacity building that you are missing. Hello? How many of us know Kwame Despite? He's gone to University of Life. In his journey, he's made mistakes and learned from them. And so he's attained a certain level of resilience in his business where if he's going down a bit, he knows how to bounce back. And we all need to feel free to make mistakes. And we should allow the children, the people we interact with, our team members, to experiment so that they can learn from the mistakes that they might make. Meta strategy. Spenica said that the plan cannot be perfect, yes. But meta strategy is saying that you should have an overall plan that has multiple plans in there. So quickly you introduce this because it's definitely going to happen that some of your plans will fail. And as they fail, you quickly switch to an alternative, you bring in a different piece, and ultimately you make progress. Also think global, like the example that I just shared from the European zone. Okay, because the product that you are producing, you don't know which customer is going to use it, and the standards that of quality that you are going to subject your project to, your product to. So as you produce, think that the world is your stage. Here are a few tips that will help if you want to be like Prometheus, pay the price, which is discomfort and pain, in order to have the learning to upgrade your capabilities. One is exposure. Let's clap for everyone that is in this room. This is a great platform for exposure. You've come here, you are meeting different people. Spenica has spoken. I'm sharing my bit from developmental learning. Other people will share from their various backgrounds, and you will learn, and you will meet new people. You will learn about new development and trends in the agric space. Experience. Take interest in participating in programs. When they say they are doing a new project, a new farm demonstration, take interest and sign up and go, just like you signed up and you came for this program. They are another way that you build your capacity. Network. I belong to the group called Women in Poultry Association. My farm Mondial Longevity was shortlisted for one of the most resilient businesses during COVID. And so we also have that winners group where we have women interacting. My feed is supplied by Kosher. Kosher customers also have a platform. In these various forums, they provide the network where I can ask questions. I didn't study agric the way I've studied finance and leadership. But today I can speak a lot of agric. Thanks to these networks, I ask, they teach me. I learn from there. So get yourself involved in this network. I don't know if Ghana Youth Agric has some forum like that. You should be happy to join and engage actively because it will contribute to your capacity building. Then there is certification. It's okay to go to school to get a BSc in agric or a diploma or something. something relating to food production, food processing, storage, post-harvest, take these courses if you get the opportunity to go for academic or professional certification. And then there is the learning and practicing of the techniques that we are taught. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture Organization, and many other groupings, AGRA, show us the standards we should follow. I'm trying to go into horticulture. I thought with my eyes I can tell good quality soil, but then I attended a workshop on horticulture and I learned that you must constantly test the soil if you are going to produce good yields. So we need to learn the best practices and to implement them as well. Share. One way to make your learning stick is that whatever you learn, you share it with others. So as you join groupings, associations, small clubs, even your peers, family, share those things that you are learning with the people that you interact with. Next slide. Also participate in the field demonstrations. I've touched on that already. And then participate in value addition training. We don't want to remain forever at where we have been. Tomato, we harvest it. If it doesn't come to the market, all of it gets rotten. We throw it away. Then the farmer is never growing in wealth. We want to come to the stage where we are learning to go higher up in the value chain, add value to what we are producing from the farm before it goes to the final consumer. I like to say in Ghana, my dustbin is always full. But when you travel, you see that your dustbin doesn't get full that much, because somebody has peeled the cassava and packaged it nicely, and it makes your cooking also faster for you. Let's begin to look into these sectors and to implement them. Finally, as a financial consultant as well, I will lump 9 and 10 together, which says that when you think about the money piece, it is good to go after it. Usually they will require that you have some capacity before they will trust you with money. And so learn, keep records, build your capacity to keep records, and build traction not only in how much you are selling, but the bottom line, the profit after tax. To conclude, I want to say that the context of our world today has a lot of unpredictability, uncertainty, and complexity that is happening at a very rapid and dramatic rate. When you hear it, it shocks you, it shakes your core. If we are going to contribute meaningfully towards food security as youth, as women, it's important that we build our capacity, starting with that leadership transformation of the self, and then taking the initiative to follow a number of the steps that I shared so that we can build our know-how. It is only when we know how that we can then take the action that will lead us to the desired food security. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Madam Doris Ahiati. How many of us enjoyed the presentation? That was splendid. Don't worry, the next one will not be a lady, to be a man. We have some distinguished personalities who have joined us, and I want to introduce them. We have Dr. Albert Amwako, Principal of Kwadaso Agri College. Boss, I'm looking for some of your graduates too, for my farm. They are around. You're welcome, sir. Then we have Mr. Isaac Ejiri of Showboy Farms. Yes, he's at the back there. You are welcome. All the way from Praso. For our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is the CEO for Business and Financial Times, popularly called BFT. He's a business leader whose vision is to use his influence to empower teams to create value for stakeholders by impacting environment, economics, and communities with appropriate strategic business models. He is a highly accomplished business leader and an economist. Dr. Akwe currently serves as the Chief Executive Officer of the Business and Financial Times. He holds a doctorate degree in business administration from Nobel International Swiss Business School in Switzerland, an MSc in economics, banking and finance degree from the University of Glasgow, UK. Additionally, he holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of Cape Coast. I wonder how somebody will do mathematics in Cape Coast. The course is difficult and the university is also difficult. Dr. Akwe is married with 3 children and he is an avid traveler and enjoys sightseeing. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clap offering, let's invite Dr. Godwin Akwe, CEO of Business and Financial Times. Put this together for him.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the youth, I'm so pleased to be here this morning to share a few thoughts with you. But we've heard so much. The brain is such that it is not able to take in information when you have hours of sitting and listening. If we are not careful, some of us will be sitting and sleeping. So I employ the young ones to be upstanding for a second, and then you shake yourselves up, and then we journey on. Please, let's be upstanding. Stretch. Okay, thank you very much. Please be seated. Also, there are a lot of slides, information that we are churning out. I haven't seen you with your books or diaries taking notes. As I said, the brain has a limit. It cannot take everything. So please, anytime you're going to a forum of this nature, or even class, ensure that you have something that you'll be taking notes, because you are young. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I am so passionate about the young ones because I believe the next level of development of Ghana will come from the youth. If they are well informed, if they are strong enough, within 10 years, 15 years, I'm sure most of us here will be occupying very important positions in the annals of nation-state Ghana. Agriculture. It's so important that, as the previous speaker said, if you find yourself feeding others through agriculture, you must be blessed because you are doing God's work to feed others, and that gives sustenance. So if you find yourself as an agric student or entrepreneur, go all out because that is a calling that nature has given to you. Africa is so blessed, and the same as Ghana. I traveled from Accra to Kumasi, assuming I had maize, and I threw them into the bush whilst driving. I'm sure in 2 months or 3 months, when I'm returning, I'll be harvesting maize without tendering the soil. It tells you how rich, how good our soil is, and how blessed we are. So agriculture is the basis for our development. So if you find yourself here gathering knowledge, it is not useless. You are privileged to hear experts imparting to you information that you need to forge ahead. A few days ago, incidentally, as I was driving on the streets of Accra, I saw so many young men selling dog chains, Oware, Ludu. Young, able-bodied Ghanaians. And I was worried. Why? Mostly they are from the hinterlands, they are from the rural areas. The irony of this is the well-to-do in society who live in the urban areas are the ones who go into the hinterlands to practice agriculture, not for leisure, but to make more money. So why do we then move from that rich area and go to Accra or the urban areas, stand in the scorching sun and sell peanuts? At the end of the day, how much would you even make? But look at Bauer. He took that initiative and he is striving on. Remember, I believe Bauer didn't have 1 million cedis to start the project. But as you start small with good attitude, very important. If the attitude is right and you get it right, when you approach an investor or someone to facilitate financial help, they will know that you are on good course, and therefore their investment will not be in vain. Let me come to the entrepreneurs, the agribusiness entrepreneurs amongst us. There is one thing studying agriculture, science, and then one thing venturing into the art of agriculture itself. You need certain skills to be able to forge ahead or be successful. First is the attitude, as I said. We have a very good example of the young man, Bauer, who has started. The attitude was right. He did not wait for someone to come and say, oh, I'm going to give you money to start this project. But he started on a small scale. And believe me, he's on YouTube. Someone will see him and will say, I will invest in this young man. And that is how it starts. So the attitude has to be right. Again, people have gone through agriculture years on, decades, and they have rich experience. Some has been documented in books. As you're going to school as young men, you learn the experiences of others. Because we all know the risks attached to agriculture. So you don't want to go through the mill and start making the same mistakes. You need the skills and the know-how. Hence, we come to fora like this. You are in school. You go to other places to learn. So please, learn very well when you're going into such ventures and ensure that you are doing the right thing at the right time. I often tell my working colleagues that if you are put in the department of sales, count yourself blessed. Because every endeavor in this life, you need sales. I don't know if you understand this. Even in the church, they do sales. Do you believe it? Yes. Even in marriage, before you court a lady, you'll be selling yourself. Oh, I am this subtly, I like this, I do that, my prospects, I want to be a doctor in future, and you are selling yourself. You need this skill, sales, to be able to sell your products when you are successful and you have your agri products. You need that skill. It comes with interactions, as the previous speaker said, or you have to read. One of our problems with Ghanaians, I don't want to say Africans, is that we don't like reading. I remember I went to the University of Ghana some years ago when I was a sales and subscriptions manager to sell our newspaper to the young ones, because we want to reach the young ones and inculcate in them that spirit of reading. Because as you read, you enrich your vocabulary, and then you also attain knowledge. So reading is very, very important. You know what a young man told me? He said, Doc, our lecturers have given us pamphlets. Why would I go and read newspaper? If I chew and pour, I'll get my A and move. This is what he told me. And I was saddened by it because I have an experience going out there to learn in Glasgow. I had a shock. As the MC said, learning in UCC is difficult. You are handed out pamphlets. Anyway, I don't want to go there. So it is difficult. Our way of learning is we dish out the information to you. We want you to go and memorize it, come and pour it on us, and we give you our aids. When I got to Glasgow, it was a different scenario. You are given 20% in the lecture hall. Slides. He speaks and that's it. You will have to go to the library and do your research. That is how it is. So, please, let us cultivate the habit of reading. You are young. Being an agricultural student or an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you don't know your left from your right. In outside world, the rich are those who are into agric. Those who are rich, they do farming. Why not in Ghana? It can start from you today. Thank you. How many of the young ones here have mobile phones? Show me by hand. Mobile phones, the young ones. Okay. So you would realize that technology and digitalization, technology, has changed the whole world. Everything in this world has changed. Things are moving faster than previously because of technology and digitization. Someone was talking about football. He said, these days, football has changed. Previously, years ago, you see a player dribbling, and then we are all like, yeah, he's a good player. But now, it is speed, it is science, and technology as well. I don't know if you know FIFA 23, FIFA that. They study it. When you see how players move, the formation and all that, players learn it. That is how technology has moved. VAR, it has changed the whole thing. I hear there is even an app that can tell you which land is fertile, which one is not fertile. You don't have to go onto the land and do the tilling and all that to find out. Technology will give you that. And I'm sure there are other areas that technology can facilitate quick and better, efficient way of farming. You are the ones that are savvy to technology. So you should be learning what is going on in the world. Go on to, there is everything on Google, internet. Now you can learn virtually everything. AI. I hear now even you can tell the computer, I want my resume. It will type it for you by itself. Artificial intelligence. This is your world. The world is evolving so quickly. Technology, digitization, add it to whatever you are learning today, because that will propel you quickly. If your grandfather was using a hoe, as Madam said, you should be using something better that will give you hundreds of bags, maybe 1 acre or 1 hectare. It is technology. As I said earlier on, please never if you hear anyone talking about sales, please go and join that class and learn. Marketing and sales. If you know how to package your products for it to look attractive, selling it will be very easy. You are very young, so the information that we are giving you, please grasp it and run with it. So that in 5 years, when we meet like this, you can testify to the fact that whatever information we gave you has resulted in success for you as an individual. Now, I've spoken about you as an entrepreneur. I want to veer into the corporate world. What help are we giving as companies towards the youth? Because remember, if the youth become successful, it will help the whole country to be successful, especially in the agric sector. As we said, everyone eats food, everyone. And agric also affects all the sectors, perhaps because of its being a byproduct. Every sector, even the presidency, the president eats, doesn't he? Yes. So maybe his corn that he's eating, his banku, or is coming from your farm. You never know. So please let us take this cause very serious. The cause being the agriculture sector. Again, remember, agric sector has a value chain. You don't have to go onto the farm yourself. You remember, Madam said she buys her feed from kosher. You can be a meal entrepreneur, you'll be doing the feed, or perhaps you will be someone who will be selling the products. Then it means that you have mastered in sales and marketing. So identify the value chain and plug into where you think you'll be comfortable with. As I said, you don't have to go onto the farm to do the production. So let's look at that as well. Coming back to the corporate level, we have to encourage the young ones along all sectors. Sometimes when it comes to supporting a forum like this, we need to do it personally. When Mr. Krampa told me that there is this opportunity to speak to the youth, I was like, I am not into agriculture. Why should I involve myself in this? But I have a fish farm, but I wouldn't call myself a farmer. You know, I am in the media industry. We give information. We have a day of the week that we give out, we churn out information on agribusiness and agric itself. There are times that we have articles on sales, as I said, customer service. One of the most important things you need if you want your company to thrive for a long time, you need customer service. Maybe these things I'm saying may be too early for you, but if you pick it up and run with it, it will help you in the future. I went to a shop, an Indian shop, when I was in the UK. I was wearing a hood. I believe you know what a hood is. Just as I got into the shop, the man looked at me as if I was an armed robber. No, we don't have it. Go, we don't have it. I was like, no, what is going on here? So I just left. I was so sad that he just looked at me and profiled me as an armed robber. I went to the next shop. The reception that I got there was wonderful. Guess what? Anytime I wanted to go for that item, I bypassed the first one and went to the second one. That is the value of customer service. So if you are selling your products, the way you interact with your clients is of most importance. Because then you have a lifelong loyal customer coming to you at all times. I believe you are with me. Our corporate social responsibility as business and financial times is to help the youth. That is why I'm here this morning. Traveled from Accra to Kumasi to help the youth. We organize the Ghana Economic Forum. It's been running for about 10 years now. We talk about economic issues pertaining nation state Ghana. Then we realize that no, the youth is even more important than the ones we have here, the old ones. because they will go. But we need to catch the youth and ensure that they have good information, the character building is better. So we brought up the Youth Economic Forum. So the Youth Economic Forum is like what we have here. We talk about issues that confront the youth. And an offshoot of that is a training session. Every quarter we have a training for the youth. We look for people who are instructors, maybe agribusiness. We are even planning on going to the market to get the young ones to train them. So if you find yourself here this morning, count yourself blessed and ensure that whatever is being said, pick something, put it down and implement it. Don't be just a listener, but a listener and someone who will implement what you listen to. We also would plead with government. Government is a facilitator. Yes, we know that. We don't expect government to come to your farm and help you farm. No. But there are certain things that government can do that will facilitate our success of being good agriculture entrepreneurs. Infrastructure is one. If I say something, I'll sound like a politician. You need a dam, all right? You know what I'm talking about. Dams should be built to help farmers have water throughout the year. An individual here sometimes may have that some few people have money, so they will be able to do their own dams. But if there are dams in catchment areas, farmers around will have water throughout. I heard a story in one of our events. The man said, I haven't been in China before, but what he said was that as they were flying one of the states, he realized that the whole place down there was red. And he was wondering, what is going on here? And then one Chinese guy told him that what you see there is tomatoes. He said it's like a whole state. They traveled so many miles and they were seeing red. He said what happens is that the government, when it is time for them to plant, they will bring you go and hire a tractor to plow the whole place for you. There is availability of seeds and fertilizer. You go and take them. You do your planting and everything. When it is ripe and ready, there is ready market for you. This is facilitated by the government. So you are motivated to go into such a venture knowing that certainly if your crops are ready, you have market. I think we can replicate this in this country. It will help us a lot. Storage facility. We all complain about our products going rotten, tomatoes and all that. There should be a deliberate effort to help the young ones as we go through this. I don't want to talk too much because we have other speakers. But I want to motivate you, the young ones, that the future is yours. Do not wait on anyone for you to take that step. Today, when you live here, make that conscious effort to take that step. If you just have 6x4, construct beds, vegetable beds, and start growing something. That is how we start. Thank you so much. God bless us all. The last thing, I said corporate social responsibility. For all of us here today, we have your information. We will send you free newspaper for some time for you to take advantage and read the newspaper. All right? So be assured of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put it together again for Dr. Gordon Akwe. Thank you very much for the invitation. To do economics and mathematics in UCC.
we have to start imagining and imbibing the fact that we are importing food from countries like Lebanon and Israel. These are countries that are in deserts, but they are able to produce enough to send some to us through export for our consumption. We have to think hard about that reality to see how we change the dynamics going forward. For us to be able to do that, we need a young one like you who are gathered in the room to appreciate that we cannot continue as a country by importing what we eat. Fortunately, there is room to learn from these countries who have done it and done it so well. And whatever they have essentially done, turned the desert into farmlands, is to apply technology and energy. In today's world, energy and agriculture cannot be split apart. They go together. Agriculture is becoming extremely energy intensive for active productivity and enhanced development. So that is the way to go. And that is what Ghana has to also evolve to begin to do. And I'm hoping that some of the young ones in the room will start leading the way for Ghana to be at least be able to feed itself. We need technology. In our context, if you go to the US, you go to Europe, it is easy for the grid to be sent to any farm for high consuming agriculture, energy consuming agriculture to be done. In our context, if you call ECG or VRA or NETCO to send electricity to your farm, it could take you 3-4 years, if not more, to be able to get that connection. Because they will then start processing how much it's going to cost them to do the extension against how much you are able to pay for the amount of energy you need for them to recover their investment. So linking extension of electricity to productivity is even challenged national planning. Fortunately, technology allows us to adapt new forms of energy to be able to extend electricity and make power available for productivity. So today, you have solar pumps that are allowing irrigation to happen so efficiently. I did mention Israel in my earlier presentation. They are advancing because they are able to adapt new forms of technology and energy to be productive, using drip irrigation powered by solar energy. And that allowed them to efficiently produce in high volume in smaller land masses. So we have to also go that line and begin to have a conversation with academia and the business community to see how we can pool resources for this to happen. It may not just be one person interested in agriculture to decide that I want to set up a solar farm to be able to integrate my farming processes with my agriculture. But we also need the universities to be researching into the new forms of energies to be able to produce and provide cheaper energy for the farm. And that is where some of these conversations becomes extremely important, so that all of us are identifying our roles, either in advocacy, technology development, or operating as the farmer, so that we can think through the solutions and be able to optimize the decisions that we need to take for the agricultural sector to actually develop. Beyond the technologies that are available for productivity enhancement, even within the agricultural space, some crops and products that can actually contribute to new forms of energy for our world and be able to enhance our growth as a country. Take, for example, ethanol. Before COVID came, countries like Brazil and the US were so much ahead in the production of ethanol. None of them could anticipate that we would have the COVID-19 for ethanol to suddenly become so expensive and sought after. But because they were ahead of the curve, suddenly they had so much export revenue by exporting ethanol, Ghana and the rest of the world. We really need to think through these ones and see how we can produce these ethanols here and be able to substitute the imports that are coming. For you as a young person in the university, you may not start thinking about 500 hectare cassava farm or potato farm to be able to produce your ethanol. You may be thinking small scale, producing to serve a smaller need in your community and gradually scale it up. Because if we think that we're going to get all the money we need to be able to do the big farms at a go, we may never get there. But if we have 10 people doing 10 hectares each, that gives us 100 hectares. And that could be a very important start. Whilst we encourage the banks, encourage the private sector to come to appreciate, they need to support those systems for more productivity in our country. So the opportunities that agriculture presents is enormous to integrate backwards and forward in the energy space. Whilst we are taking energy from the sun, wind, and geothermal to be able to provide power for high-intensive agriculture processing, we also have opportunity to loop it back, produce ethanol for cooking and other industrial processes that are also required in our world today. We have over 50% arable lands. We cannot continue to fail by importing what we eat. We have to do better than those who are on the desert. And that is a big call for all of us to begin to see the economic potential of agriculture and see how we integrate that using available energy forms to be able to achieve that. What we are doing, even our center, is now get into that space of technology development and interface directly with the farmers and others who are also interested in improving productivity for us to together move and drive productivity and shape the agriculture sector together. So last week we signed an MOU with University of Energy and Natural Resources based in Sunyani to now create that partnership that helps us be part of the technology movement. Because what we are also realizing is that when it comes to energy, we are essentially a market where China and the rest of the world send their panels and their generation systems to us. But how do we encourage our own students and our own academics to also get into that space of technology development so that we can also sell to the world? Can you imagine if Facebook or any of the technology companies emerged from our context? That could be way bigger than the economy that we are struggling with today. So there's opportunity for innovation and creativity. And the summary of our thinking is that the world in which we are today, you either innovate or die. Because just being a market is not enough to sustain your economy. So we are thinking agriculture, but there are other technologies that are connected to it, financing, and all the other inputs that are required. We have to think through it to be sure that we are not leaving any loose ends and staying the same. But after these summits, after these engagements and identifying the potential of our country, we will pick up the pieces and put them together to revolutionize agriculture in our country. So I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I'm hoping that we'll continue to engage and have specific targets on how we move from these conversations to practical actions that changes agriculture in our country. I want to thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. Boachi. That was very, very insightful and very, very powerful. Even though you are very busy, we are grateful for spending some time to share this insightful thoughts with us. Thank you very much. We'll try and move very fast. Each speaker will have 10 minutes each, and then we'll have some brief panel discussions, and then we'll be gone. The next speaker is a lawyer, and is the managing partner at Sostineri Attorneys, PRUC, a boutique law firm specialized in business and transactional legal services. His interest spans from company, commercial, corporate law, startups, fintech, agribusiness, property, and investment law. Equally, he devotes his time to matters concerning entrepreneurship and youth development across Africa, facilitating legal training programs for young entrepreneurs and sharing his expertise as an entrepreneur too. As an entrepreneur, he prides himself as an award winner of the Agriculture Man of the Year 2019 by EMY Africa. He has also been recognized by notable institutions such as the Young Africa Leaders Initiative, the Young Enterprise Support, yes, now NEIP, and Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurial Foundation. His passion for startup development has led him to mentor young entrepreneurs on platforms such as the Total Energy Startup Challenge, Cosmos Innovation Center, the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Foundation, and the Africa Skills Hubs, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome lawyer Richard Nune Peku. It's rare to see a lawyer interested in farming.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. I was here last year, and when I got here last year, my first remark was, wow. And I'm still in that mood today, because throughout my life, either as a student or as an entrepreneur, I've never seen an event that has put together young people on the subject matter of agric and farming. And I think Reverend and his team are doing a great job by this. They need a round of applause. But I'm also aware of the fact that two things have happened before my speech. First is the fact that other speakers have touched variously on the subject matter I will be speaking on. So it gives me a great pleasure that I will not be talking for too long. The second is that it's past lunchtime, so our faces are changing because our stomachs have started drumming. So I will keep my remarks very short. But I want us to think about this, that some years back, our fathers, our aunties and grandfathers who wanted to do financial transactions had to either queue at banks or go to lorry station to give monies in envelopes to drivers and their mates to send to people they were sending those monies to. Some years back as well, if you are coming to Kumasi, you had to go to Circle, queue at 4 stations to be able to get to Kumasi. And for those of us who are very fortunate to have our aunties who have traveled to the US and other countries, they were sending us audio cassettes with recordings of what they wanted to tell us through people who may either be coming during Christmas or a very big funeral. And then we're expected to record back what we wanted to tell them so that they can take it back to them for them to play, to be able to hear our voices. But today, the world is a different space. These things are not happening anymore. And they are not happening anymore because of the influence of technology. So the encouragement I want you to take from this event is not that because we said this is an Agric forum, or everybody is saying, look at agriculture, pay attention to what you want to do, and take up that interest. It is not a call for you to leave here and go and carry cutlass and hoe. It is a call for you to go based on insights, based on your engagement with the sector, your understanding of the sector, to see what you can develop, either with your friends or like minds, that will improve upon the sector, create efficient way for the farmer to farm, create efficient way for the farmer to source input through the use of technology, mobile phones, anywhere the farmer is, create the opportunity for the farmer to be able to link his or her output to the market, create the opportunity for the farmer to access extension services without the presence of physical persons coming to his or her farm, and see how you can use technology. Because I remember the speaker before me asked how many of us had mobile phones. And I'm sure almost all of us here today have mobile phones. That's technology. With the help of AI today and machine learning, various possibilities are being enabled. So I want young people who we are encouraging to be interested in Agric to begin to look at Agric from that perspective. It is never a call for you to go back to the ways our grandfathers and our grandmothers used to farm, which is very laborious. You spend your whole day in the farm using cutlass and hoe. Can we create new tractors? Are we going to see technologies that help the farmer to weed? Are we going to see technologies that help the farmer to know the soil profile without necessarily fetching some of the soil and going to Soil Research Institute for a test? Are we going to be seeing technologies that will help the farmer use the borehole the farmer has on his farm, or the river that is close to the farmer's farm, to be able to irrigate his or her farm through irrigation technologies, so that the farmer can farm all year round and make food available for me and you? That is the kind of call and era we are in today. It is a call for you to embrace technology in Agric, which we call Agritech. And for me, I'm excited because there are a lot of opportunities and support systems beyond this platform that are available and supporting young people who are interested in farming and using technology to get funding. I was at the Cosmos Innovation Center last 2 weeks Friday. I'm one of the judges on that platform. We gave out to a total of 11 young businesses $350,000. I think you should be clapping for that. That is funding made available for young people who have gone around communities to understand the challenges farmers are facing and are ready to use technology to solve those problems. And I think when you live here today, all of us are from various communities and villages. When we go back to our communities, let's apply how we can use technology to solve the problems our mothers and sisters, brothers and fathers are facing farming. And I'm sure you will become one of those beneficiaries who may get support either through this program directly, or will be able to come up with an idea that other funders that are available can support, so that you also have a business that is having something to do in Agric. So on that note, I'm encouraging you, like the CEO for Business and Financial Times said, you also need to read, because the knowledge that is available today is available in books, it's available on websites, it's available in documents. So if you do not read, you will not be able to expand your perspective about some of these issues. So find out more about how people are using technology to change farming and agriculture in general, participate in the value chain, go to a smallholder farmer who is either farming vegetables, go to someone who is farming maize, go to a fish farmer, go to someone who is rearing goats, who is rearing chickens, and ask the person, can you explain your processes? Through that explanation, you will be able to identify what the challenges are and be asking questions and building your insights as to how you can provide solution that addresses those problems. So on that note, I thank you so much for coming. We look forward to being available and helping you grow and support your initiatives that you will come up with. Farming is the future. It is also what we need today, because all of us eat, and without farmers, we all will die one day. Thank you.
Thank you. Lawyer, thank you very much. That was brief and powerful. Okay. We shall take a short video, which we've entitled Success Story Video 2, from a lady called Abna Kusiwa. Abna Kusiwa. Short video, and then I'll be back. Thank you.
Abna Kusiwa.
So you say you are an extension officer?
Yeah. CAA, Community Extension Agent, and I'm working under Ghana Cocoa Board. That's why he said I'm a cocoa officer.
Okay. Yeah. So how long have you been doing?
For 3 years now.
Let's talk about this. Wow. So this is a nursery that is for you, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it. When did you start? What was your motivation? And why pepper?
Oh, okay. Yeah. With the tree. Yeah. The idea a mammy and Maconi say, so they only the farmer and Casa. Pepper no, a boapa community, a juma every year be a year. Odu Mushemusua, it's name away the Uniska. Mean Canada, me free Jamaton is here, Maconi Mametoye. And Yamakona committing to Fiji. Because me didn't wish him a criminal into your mamma Niska. Sikade Mobi, a sea crowd, okay, last week, or cotton moko, a dry one, no, 2 bags Emma last week, Namakoji scanner. A ton bag back on 1,000 cities. And then work as all my increasing price, no. By price, the new stable, said the all cano, say, into no more any say no. Why would you have a bank them no be because on one would you have a bank, we bet mat on 1,000 plus, said the all can. But as time goes on, and that price never you see.
Cow situation. After the Muna,
the bar 4th April 2020. Now the bar and also the bar as extension officer, extension agent by under Ghana Cocoa Board.
Now what's that thing?
Oh, so far any farmers. We quote the farmers, any farmers near my children. What be that? Okay, the Belcroma of Fono. The who say, apart from a Macono, create maybe any has.
Hello, put your hands together. Is Abna Kusiwa here? Where is Abna? Oh, Abna, please come. Put your hands together for her. Wow, wow. Abena it is saying. Oh, bro. So Bremo couldn't be. I said, I'm a crony boy in the room. Abena Brenubeka said, congratulations. Obeka and Bikakra. Oh, Bonsema Abena Pesavecas. Abena Pesavecasa. Okay. Bonsema Abena. Abna ya face can brother me face him more. Okay. Now our next speaker is called Mrs. Matilda Kokwi Owusu Bio. I've been corrected. She's doctor. Doctor. If it's doctor, you can clap again, please. She's a trailblazer in the world of supply chain management and a passionate advocate for gender and inclusion. As a lecturer at the prestigious Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, School of Business, Dr. Owusu Bio has been enlightening minds and shaping futures for over a decade. Driven by a deep-rooted passion for gender equality and humanitarian logistics, Dr. Owusu Bio's research has not only generated international attention, but has also led to groundbreaking advancements in the field. Her intriguing PhD work explored the uncharted territory of innovation within humanitarian logistics, contributing to the development of life-saving solutions. A testimony to her commitment to professional growth, Dr. Owusu Bio is an esteemed member of numerous professional organizations, including the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals, Women in Logistics and Transport, the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, and the Humanitarian Logistics Associations. She embarked on a journey with Dr. Matilda Owusu Bio as she continues to challenge the status quo, inspire change, and pave the way for a brighter, more equitable future in the world of supply chain. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clap offering, let's welcome Dr. Mrs. Matilda Owusu Bio. Put your hands together for her, a PhD holder, a lecturer at KNUST, and an inspiration to the youth. Madam, you are welcome.
Thank you. And good afternoon to all of you. I know the time is shaky, but good afternoon to all of you. It is indeed an honor, and I bring greetings from the Center of Applied Research and Innovation in Supply Chain Africa, a collaboration between KNUST, Arizona State University, and the USAID. What it does is it gives us money to research into supply chain areas, whether in capacity, whether in innovations, but it focuses most importantly on agric and health. So it is indeed an honor for us to be here, to be part of this summit. I have never met anyone as passionate when it comes to agric and to the future of Ghana like Pastor Evans. Anytime I engage with him, I'm like, I wish when I was younger, there were trailblazers, people who were passionate. Our speakers before us have spoken about being committed. But I personally believe that without that passion that will drive you, you can have all the money, you can have all the land, but if you do not believe and are not passionate about it, you would not be able to achieve what you set your eyes on. So we are blessed that we have a generational thinker. Someone who is not thinking, he's okay. Don't get it wrong, he's very okay. He can do without this. But he's looking at the future and he's thinking of your generation. So I think we should give him another hands up. Looks like a lot of things I would have said have already been discussed. But we are just going to look at a bit of some technical aspects of it. And then the aim is for you to identify the opportunities. When it comes to agric, it's not just what you see on the farms. And hopefully, by the end of my presentation, I'll be able to skip a lot. You'd be motivated that it's not only about the farms, but there are certain activities within it that you can take advantage of. So I'll be looking at navigating an efficient agricultural supply chain for economic development and with focus on youth and women. It looks long, but don't worry, I'll skip a lot of it because a lot of it has been touched on. All right. Why the focus on you, the youth and women? It's because you make the majority of the world. In fact, for Africa, we have the youngest people in the world, 42%. And when it comes to agric as a sector, it is what is going to move the whole world. I'm sure you've heard of a few terms: food security, food scarcity. All these would be moved by agric. When we have enough to eat, there's no scarcity. But how do you get enough to eat? It is by understanding the various activities that go on in a supply chain. And I'll use a practical aspect. Supply chain generally is just a series of activities that are feeding into each other. A network that moves from one node to the other. When it comes to agric, then we are scaling it to agriculture. You all eat bread, I suppose. Show by hand anyone who doesn't eat bread. So I guess you all eat bread, right? Now we are going to look at a simple illustration of how you get your bread and how it depicts the agric supply chain in terms of the bread supply chain. Most breads are made from wheat. Of course, we have corn bread and potato bread, rice bread, but we'll look at wheat. It means that no matter who the baker is, without that wheat, they cannot prepare the bread. So someone has to plant that wheat. But before the person also plants that wheat, they must get that seed. They must acquire it. So we assume that someone brings that seed. It's planted, it's processed, it's harvested. It's harvested, processed into wheat, flour. Whoever will bake it, whether it's a big industry or a small industry, would have to acquire that flour. They will transform it into the various types of bread. You can mention a few. What are some of the popular breads we know in Ghana? Tea bread. Which other ones? Sugar. Wheat. All right, so at least you get the picture. All right. Now, those who bake, even on a small scale, will bring it to the junction or to the street, and you buy. If you are talking about the big bakers, like BB Bread, A1, there are a couple of them, you see that they have vehicles that will transport this bread, and will find them in various locations, whether it's a supermarket or on our street corners or even in traffic. And then those who want bread, depending on what they need it for, would acquire it. If it's for a party, then the person is buying the bread for that function. If it's for your home, you are buying it, whether to drink cocoa or tea with. And how you combine it. Here it says sandwich, but I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this one. Sorry. You know this one? Yeah, this is the Ghanaian one that we know. Kose bread. Lovely sandwich, right? You get your bread, you put some kose in there. Lovely, lovely taste. You are consuming that. It is a product of the supply chain. a bread supply chain. So from the farmer who got the seedling, to the company that processed it, to the baker that baked that bread for you, to you enjoying it on your table. That depicts the various activities in an agri supply chain. So when we talk about the components of an agri supply chain, we would always relate it to this. Right. So what went into the bread? Wheat. That's not the only ingredient. If it's sugar bread, it meant that some sugar went in there. So there was a farmer who also planted some sugar cane, and then we're able to get that sugar. The baker assessed it. If it's chocolate cake or cocoa cake, as they call it, it means that the baker acquired that cocoa component from somewhere. All right. So that's the input. The farmer, farming, harvesting, and even how you harvest and the way you harvest is also a major activity. Where do you store the items that you actually harvest? How is the wheat stored? How is the sugar stored? In processing, we mentioned different examples of the bread. Those are the various processes that we have. Now for the big companies, even the small ones, after they've baked the bread, how do they handle it? Do they keep it in a bakery, in a space, or you know the one that is hot, right? You realize that on some of our streets, we have these modern ovens where they bake and then immediately you can acquire it, right? That is the way they are handling it. For the big companies like the BBs, you see them, distributing it. Some use taxis, aboboya, vans, and then they move it from one point to the other. Some also send it to supermarkets. So you go to the shops and then you find it. Now there are what we know as the supporting services within the agri supply chain. And this is being enhanced by technology. And for you, you are such a blessed generation because you have access to information through technology. I come from an era, I'm an alumni from here. And during my first degree, even photocopy machines were very rare. If you wanted to have copies of a document, a book, a page, sometimes you had to go into town. But today, if I'm to give you any document and say, take a copy, how many of you would truly have to go to town? All you have to do is what? Take a picture with your phone. Some of you have phones that are more powerful than laptops because of the capabilities. And it gives you access to opportunities using technology. So as the previous speaker said, now you don't have to go and stand by the road and wait for the driver with the envelope to get money from your parents. Easily you can access it through mobile money. You can access it digitally on your banking app. You can go to an ATM without owning an account and just easily access it. All these support services now exist to change the way of technology. And we are going to do a practical example now. For those of you who had this bookmark from Kariska, all right, you can scan the second one. If not, you can just enter this code when you go to www.menti.com. You see a few questions there. Quickly answer them, and then we would discuss it as part of understanding what the agri supply chain is. Those of you who have gadgets, I know it's not all of you who have gadgets, but those of you who have, you can scan the QR code, or you can just enter. Now, this is a demonstration of technology, even in teaching for us. All right. Now you have smart boards that give you access and storage of information. Formerly, we would have to give you hard copy papers, and then you'd be taking and we'll have to collect it, go and access. But now, within a few minutes, we'll be able to see, get your feedback on what you provide. Please show by hand those who have been able to answer the few questions there. Generally, we've listed 12 foods, delicacies of Ghana, and we've asked you to select the best 3. That is going to allow us to look at a few other supply chains that exist, and then the opportunities that are there for you. So for some of the foods we had wache, TZ, gobe, rice balls, jollof, banku and tilapia, or pepper or okro. TZ, I mentioned TZ, ampesi, konkonte, fried rice and chicken, indomie. All right, these are popular foods. All right. Now, based on what you selected, I can't see evens. So, wache is the most, okay, based on those who have actually participated. We are saying that wache is our favorite meal. Now, what are the components of wache? I'm asking you, what are the components of wache? Beans, rice, that's all. Oil, there's a protein, right? Wache doesn't go without kehuro and gari and mention. But the key ingredient, you've not mentioned it, the shito. Right? The shito can change the whole taste. But what goes also into the shito? Right? All those spices. Now what it means is that even in every meal, look at the number of ingredients that we need. So if you are to go into any sector of the agri supply chain, you won't go wrong. Now don't get it wrong. We are not saying stop and go and stay on the farm. Now when we look at value chains within supply chain, you realize that for the old school farming that you have in mind, right, because of time we are skipping one of the exercises. It's not about the hoe and the cutlass only, but they are what we call aggregators. You have a mobile phone, you can read. Now it's so easy to even develop an app or to actually sign on to an app. You've identified a farmer within your community. You just have to tell the person, you know what, instead of just selling your items on your farm, I'm going to help you by creating extra value on what you have. And that's the essence of what we refer to as value chain. Adding a bit of economic value to raw commodities so that you can sell it at a higher cost. For example, if you take an orange, generally what's the price of one orange? The fruit orange. You're not sure? 1 cedi. But if you are to buy a bottle of orange juice, how much will it cost? Averagely, 4-5 cedis. You see that that orange fruit has gained value by being a juice. It is because you've done something to that orange. It has been harvested, moved to someone who decides that I'm going to extract that juice, process it, and then send it to the market. By adding those little activities, the person is able to generate more value. Maybe out of that one orange, they are able to extract, process, and get 3 bottles of juice. Simple mathematics. 1 is to what? 15. So that is what now we are yearning that the younger generation don't focus only on the raw commodity. Don't focus on only just the livestock. Process it. Even packaging would create value for you. Now there are a lot of people, and the idea is that research, look for information. You have your colleagues in other countries who are able to use just that handphone, that cell phone, their laptop, to market products from their community by packaging. If you are to go to the market to buy beans or rice, I'm talking about the old style one, the one that the olunka or the half cup. How do you distinguish from the one you would prefer to buy and the other you would ignore? What do you look out for? My ladies, just in case the men don't also go to the market. When you go to the market, how do you make your decision on what to choose? A volunteer, you get a prize from Cariska. Weevil. You are looking at the quality. In terms of layer stones, no insects. It has to do with packaging. All you have to tell the person is, let's pick all the dirt and stones from it, put it in a nice packaging, put a label on it, and we can gain premium as compared to the one that is selling it ordinarily. You have gone to school, you understand what transportation is. If the person is even in Accra, let's give it to VIP, STC, to take to the person. As long as the person is willing to pay that transportation cost, then you've started building a distribution network on it. So looking at the value chain presents you with so much opportunity. These are a few examples. I'm sure now you hear of organic farming. What it means is that you are using less chemicals. And because we've now become a very sensitive society globally, everybody is thinking of sustainability. We want to reduce the amount of chemicals we have. So if you are able to prove that in my farm I'm using local or organic manure, I'm using sustainable practices, it allows you to sell your tomatoes higher than the ordinary tomatoes. You don't need to be on the farm to do that. You can give or provide training, education to that farmer to add that premium. So we are looking at the opportunities that exist for you. Now, one area that is also available is the waste that is generated in farming, and there's waste in every activity. The opportunities it also presents. You all know coconut. I'm sure you drink coconut. But when you look on our streets, a lot of times you see that they've put the shell and the husk. Now, in terms of sustainability, people are looking at how to process that waste from just coconut, turning it into fiber. Some people are even researching into coming up with furniture from the waste, from that agric product. Don't forget the oils and the milk that come out of it, but it's waste. Now they are even converting it into a form of soil that is being used for planting. When it comes to global warming and the effect in terms of our shoreline, research has come up with Ecolog from the coconut industry, where it is used to sort of protect the shore because it's processed in the way that it becomes impermeable to the water. So even waste is giving up products in terms of innovation. So the opportunities for you exist so much in agric. Once we all accept the fact that we eat, and generally we have to develop as a nation, and agric is our engine for growth, we have to know to consume locally. Our previous speaker told us about how we are importing almost everything, from tomatoes to mango. It doesn't mean we do not eat them. Once we are consuming it and buying it, it means the market is here. If we are able to package it with your passion, your technology, your youthful exuberance, and create that market, we would have our economy developing. But we must do it ourselves. We must develop the taste for what is ours, not what belongs to another. Because remember, if you are buying from our neighboring countries, you are creating jobs for them. Jobs you need. And we talk about food security. We must grow, we must eat, and be able to still keep more. Process and then even export. So that is how you should look at the agric sector. Don't picture the olden hoe and cutlass, but look at the various opportunities that exist. The development of Ghana rests in your hands, not us. You are fortunate that you have someone who is willing, always talking about the youth and agric. Avail yourselves. There are so many platforms. When you come to KNUST, apart from Kariska, you go to the agric, there are so many centers that you can even just go and get information. And then we'll give you the networks and the links that will allow you to grow. The most important thing is to know that Ghana depends on you. Last part. Right. I'm trying to cut it short because of time. But then again, in as much as we are willing to encourage you, there are things that we also need to be done, as we indicated. We need to make sure that there are policies that guide your business. We need to make sure that there are regulations that will guide female activities when it comes to that agri space. our land tenure systems. All right. And as academicians, we are trying and pushing to make sure that some of these policies are enforced. So you just have to avail yourself. Now you see this last picture. All right. It says the importance of smaller steps. We are motivating you. But you notice from the picture that it's the same level they want to go to. One has baby steps, attainable. And another is so ambitious. They see pastor and they're like, pastor has 10 acres of this plant or this crop. I want some today. No. You should be willing to have the patience to grow. If you see any genuine successful business person, there is a story to tell from how they started. Seek that and then be patient to get to that level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doc. Put your hands together again for Doc. For those who are tired and hungry, I have good news for you. We have the last one. And then we are done. And it should just be very brief. There is it's my mate from the university, somebody I sincerely respect and admire so much. And he's an accomplished businessman and a consultant. A man of many parts. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite our last speaker, Mr. Kweku Fosu Frimpong, all the way from Tepa, but resides in Accra. Kweku, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Can we all be upstanding? Please. Please. I know we are tired. Just stretch a bit. Just stretch. I promise you it's going to be very short. Just like 5 minutes. And we'll move to the next session. Just stretch, stretch, stretch. I'm sure you're all having a very good time. Are you having a good time? I want to hear you. Are you having a good time here? Okay. So I'm going to shout Ghana Youth in Agriculture. I want to hear a very big shout. And you are going to repeat that we are ready. If you are ready to start, then you need to say this. Ghana Youth in Agriculture. Ghana Youth in Agriculture. I didn't hear the people back there. So, Ghana Youth in Agriculture. Thank you very much. You can sit down. I'm sure that many of us who have heard these wonderful presentations from our guest speakers are wondering how to start. We are wondering when to start. I'm sure some of us have fears, many fears. Somebody just whispered before I entered that all of these talks, after here, how can I start? I'm sure there's somebody here who is wondering how he can get money to start a venture in agriculture. And I'm sure there's somebody who is even wondering how he can get the land, how he can get the know-how. I just want to end this session with a very small presentation. All of these can start by being smart. I'm going to give an example of myself. When I finished Opokuwari many years ago, I decided to venture into agriculture. I wouldn't say I wasn't smart. I tried and I failed. What happened was there was a security man in our house, so I just engaged him to start the business for me. Because I had just finished Opokuwari, I thought I could grow the beans that they eat, because I like beans. You know, those of you, I'm sure I have a lot of people just like me. Don't I? Yes. So I said, I'm going to grow all the beans that are being consumed in Opokuwari. And I even wanted to stretch it to all the schools in the Ashanti region. So I gave out money to this man to start the business for me. And then he was doing it. Then I was working, so I didn't get the time to follow up. He was giving me stories. To cut a long story short, one day I decided to go to the site to look at my beans farm. I went there coming back with tears. There was nothing. And that is why I'm saying that if you want to start, you need to be smart. Currently, I have also engaged a lot of people in my hometown, Tepa. I am being smart because I probably don't have the time to maybe go to the farm like what my brother has been doing and what many of us want to do. But I've also engaged people with finance. Okay, let's do a cocoa farm. We will do it and then we'll split. This is being smart. I heard my brother talk about talking to the mother to give him a land to start his farming. That is being smart. I just don't want to bore you with a lot of these smart ideas. But all I'm telling you is you have to be smart. The next thing I want to talk to you about is that you should build a very good character. In fact, this is so important to me because I mentioned about some of your fears. Remember, the first thing I said was availability of capital. I've also mentioned to you that I'm engaged in farming with other people in my hometown. Just imagine that they treat me like the way the security man treated me. Will I be willing to do this for another person? The answer is no. So if you are here, you don't have the resources, you don't have the capital, you need to develop a very good character. You need to build yourself so that somebody elsewhere can believe in you and then help you. The next thing I want to say is that anytime you hear Ghana Youth in Agriculture Summit, please, you need to be here. Because I was very amazed to hear all the opportunities in agriculture that our sister was mentioning about. Many of us, I'm sure, without this, will not have the opportunity to know. Somebody was asking me that the talking has been too much. I'm telling you, the talking is important. The talking is important. So let's all be inspired, build good characters, start small, and start smart. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our future MP. Very soon. Very, very soon he will be in Parliament. Say amen. Good. It's time for us to have the panel discussion. Please, can I get some people to get a chair here? We shall have brief panel discussions, take some few questions, and then we will be gone. And the first panel discussion will be looking at inclusive partnership for sustainable agricultural development and job creation. I'll repeat it. Inclusive partnership for sustainable agricultural development and job creation. And these are the people that will be on the panel. Pastor Evans himself, the convener. Put your hands together for him. Very passionate pastor. Mrs. Doris Ahiati will also be on the panel. Put your hands together for her. Then Dr. Matilda Owusu Bio, the woman who just gave the powerful presentation. Put your hands together for Doctor. And then Madam Daku, my namesake, please. we are not fighting with her. Put your hands together for her as she comes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our panelists with a big, 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 big clap offering. I don't know, where should I start from? Who can give me a clue? Where I should start from? Okay, Doc, somebody said I should start from you. Can we have another microphone, please? Can we have another microphone? Yeah. Now, Doc, yeah, I'll mention it again. Inclusive partnership for sustainable agriculture and job creation. There is the first one, the discourse of gender has been a gray area in the agribusiness sector. What is your take on this subject matter, and how can the sector be made inclusive?
All right, thank you. When it comes to gender issues in the agric space, there is a lot of sociocultural factors. There's stereotyping on the role of women in agric, and then there are cultural restrictions on them. The woman is expected to assist, when you look at the rural setting, is expected to assist her husband on the farm, but not to strive for her own. When you look at the land tenure system, it favors the males more than the men. But thankfully, there are now policies because of education. The girl child is becoming more aware. So it's an idea that is now translating into a bit of action. In the northern sector, how they are solving it is by getting the women into cooperatives. And then what they are now doing is being able to get some timeshare. So they would go to the farm and help their husbands. And then collectively, they will come and work on a small part of the farm, their farm, and are able to generate their yield. And as the men are seeing what they are able to do, and in fact, research has proven that when it comes to planning works, women are more efficient by 30%. It is research, it's not because I'm a woman. Because we take our time and we manage better. So as the men are seeing the yield that they are coming up with, they are beginning to release a little more land for them. So now a few of the women are going into their own farming, a bit of value-adding activities, and then being able to become more financially dependent. And that is how they are tackling it. When you come to the southern sector, where we are a little more literate, women are combining their main activities with farming. It might not necessarily be at the farm gate, farm front, but through value.
In as much as I know that there is inequalities in various sectors in the agri space, especially like my sector, which is input distribution, like up in Northeast, I think I'm a few of women who own and operate agri distribution companies. But I think most women enter through their husbands, whether they are late, they inherit the business, or they join because their husbands already operate there. And that inefficiency or that inequality has been existing for long, and it's time that we are all working towards to break that inequality. But as there is partnership, I think it's good to partner, because as a woman in a very male-operated sector of the agri, I like partnership. Because if, let's say, as Madam just said, women are good in the planning, I can plan, develop certain partnership with bigger companies, submit it to them, and they say, oh, if you can move this volume, then we are ready to work with you. There is nothing stopping me from knowing that these are my male colleagues in the sector, and based on it, allergy A and B have the capacity in terms of finance to be able to come into a partnership with me, so that we can be able to go to the company and say, yes, we can meet all your requirements, get that deal done, and be able to execute our side of it, and be, get a profitable, what do we call it, returns from it. So I believe in partnership, in as much as in most sectors of the agri, the women are behind, females are behind, from capital to access to resources and even time. There are a lot of unpaid labor that we do as women that cuts into the number of hours you can effectively work in your business or in your career. But I think partnership goes a long way. You know you are handicapped in certain ways. Nothing stops you from reaching out. There are women group, as Madam said, in the north, who own acreages that even men group together don't own. And that is because of partnership. They go into agreement with landowners. Oh, when the men come to pick the land, they pay this amount. We will not pay upfront, but after harvesting, we will give this and that. And after working with the women group for a year or two, these chiefs are seeing the impact and the investment that the women are putting on the farm, and are happy to renegotiate and say, okay, we can increase the acreages for you, or we can add this and that to the service or to the support you need, so that you'll be able to grow. Because research has shown, especially in the rural settings, 80% of income from women ends up supporting household. So if I am a male and I know if my wife farm 5 acres and earn an income, and at the end school fees will be taken care of, the children's uniform are always neat and new, there is no way I will be a hindrance against that access. When you look at the value chain from seed preparation all the way to even the cooking, women play an important role. Although there are gender issues when it comes to the agricultural value chain, I think with time and with partnership, women can break into other sectors. Thank you.
Put your hands together for Madam Darkum. Now, my next question goes to Pastor Evans. The agricultural space is dominated by smallholder farmers. How can it be commercialized to foster job creation and entrepreneurship for particularly women and the youth?
I think that we have to first of all drive a lot of investment in the sector, and then also help the smallholder farmers to be able to pivot very well. What I have seen so far with my engagement with the smallholder farmers is that a lot of them don't have access to credits, and that really inhibits their outputs. Okay, so some of them, they start and then they fizzle out. My interaction with them tells me that we really need to drive a lot of public investment and private investment into that space. If we're able to do that, at least we can build on that and it becomes sustainable. Having said that, we also need to be intentional. I always stress on that point, that until we are intentional about driving the agricultural sector, a lot will be said and then nothing will be done. The commercialization is very important, because that is where we'll be able to maximize job creation. For example, I do 500-acre cassava farm. On my farm, every day, the labor alone that count on the farm is about 50 people. So if these 50 people, and more of them are women, many of them are women with babies, they come and nest their babies on the farm and all that. Okay, a smallholder farmer may not be able to do what I'm doing. But if we have many of my type, okay, in the space, it means that somehow we are also creating jobs for many of these village folks to get their livelihood going. So investment is very key in this sector. Investment is very key. And I'm saying this and taking this opportunity to also appeal to the government to really streamline how we access funding. Okay, sometimes the banks are very reluctant in the agricultural funding. When it comes to banks, they are they are laid back because of the risk, with in the space. But the government can find a way of incentivizing this sector and then collaborating with some of the banks to de-risk, the system so that more people can get in, create more jobs for our people, and then get more women included.
Hello, thank you. Now, to Madam Mahiati. Appropriate policies can create an enabling environment for gender transformative change. I repeat it. Appropriate policies can create an enabling environment for gender transformative change. What would be your advice in this regard for government and all actors along the value chain? What can government do? What can other stakeholders do to create the enabling environment for women to actively participate in the agri value chain?
Thank you very much. I like that you came from the angle of policy, because policy will basically set the framework or the requirement, sometimes through legislation, that let's do it this way. We have a society that typically has all people in the various sectors of the agri value chain waking up and going to work probably on a regimented 8 to 5 p.m. I think we could start with flexibility there. There are women, like my colleagues have said, that may be doubling up. They are somewhere in the value chain. Some of them feel trapped. They want the security of regular income, which may be coming from their main job, but they also see that there's the opportunity to expand this side gig that they are doing, because they can see that what is coming there is sometimes more than what they are earning monthly, but then it's not secured. And so if you are able to provide security, people would, if we are able to provide that flexibility with our policy when it comes to requirements surrounding how we work, what time you are going to work, what time you are closing. People may have the option to say, I'll do part-time. I'll spend half of my day here and I'll spend half of my day there. But somebody has to show that leadership. Somebody has to set that example in order to pave the way. Then I also want to look at mindsets. For a very long time, when it comes to the land tenure system and land ownership, I'm not sure where it sits presently, but there should be room. If you bought a land and the indenture and documents are being prepared for you, in whose name? What provisions has the law got? We can have clarity in this area so that regardless of your sex, regardless of whether you are married or not, that you should be able to acquire that property of land if you so desire and if you have the means to accomplish that. Then I also believe engaging with people. Oftentimes we have a situation where the policy is crafted on one side and handed down to the people that are supposed to benefit, or the people that the policy is supposed to apply to. I think that if we came from a point of view angle where we sit down with the people that we are seeking to create a solution or an outcome for, interact, understand what really their pains are, so that we create a policy that addresses that pain, then we'll be able to come up with policies that are fit for purpose, So I think looking one at the how we set policies, engaging with the people concerned first, seek their point of view in order to craft the policy. So we have fit for purpose policies. And two is also leadership by showing example in the kind of framework that we provide in our legislation. For one, the provisions that we have in there when it comes to land title, ownership, I think that could go a long way. And I think the third one has to do with the place of work, how work is structured, regardless of whether you are male or female. In Ghana today, you see that the women will wake up early, sometimes painfully early, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., take care of all the household needs. They must still report to work at the same time as the male counterpart who probably didn't have to bathe any children, they didn't have to help with homework, they didn't have to package school lunch, they didn't have to drop their children sometimes. Must report at the same time. So a bit of flexibility to give that convenience to women in the workplace. I believe that that would give them the room to innovate and initiate a number of projects that will help them feel included. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I have a last question. You were talking about partnership, Madam Darkon, where you mentioned that maybe you could get an order and you wouldn't be able to meet the order, but then you are able to partner with other male colleagues to be able to deliver on the orders. I've seen some partnership in Agric that's working perfectly, and that is when it comes to acquisition of land, where you don't have money to buy the land, but then you could enter into a partnership with the landowner, and then the landowner gets a percentage of what you produce. Now, how important is partnership in agricultural space, especially when there aren't enough resources? And what are the benefits that the youth stands to benefit when they partner in the agric sector?
Okay, concerning partnership in the agric side, it has been there since time immemorial. It's now that we are trying, because of character issue, we are trying to make it legal or something formal. Those days we heard of terms like ebusa, ebunu, like you do cocoa 100 acres with, you provide the labor, I provide the input. When the cocoa grows and we want to start harvesting, you, the labor, gets 1% of the farm, I get this. All these arrangements were done, and that was because there was a mutual trust. There was no lawyer drafting up agreements, although some people were bitten hard by disloyalty and other things, but those type of arrangements were existing locally and it was working. Then we now move to landowners saying, oh, we don't like Ebunu Ebusa. It's a family land, but I am working in Accra. I don't care whatever the land does or doesn't do. But if you want to use an acre, pay 100 cedis, pay 150. Those are type of partnership people are going in with landowners. And also their partnership in terms of, what do we call it, production. You can do half an acre, I can do half an acre, but doing half an acre on our own is expensive. When you look at crop budget, now most of the packages in terms of agrochemical fertilizer and others are packaged for an acre measurement, some even for a hectare. So imagine if we are doing a half acre each. I go and buy 1 bottle, I use, half is left, waste of money. Another goes to buy 1 bottle, half of it is left. That is another waste of money. But if we can come together, put resources together, and then produce as a group or in partnership, and then when the yields are out, we sell and divide the money based on the investment or the energy we put in. That will be very profitable because we can't stand on our own. Now the conversation is moving from competition to collaboration. Nobody is competing with anybody in the, what do we call it, in any space, even from the medical field to other. The competition aspect of things has ended. It's becoming collaboration. I do this. This is what another company does best. Is there a way we can work together? Then, if there is no mutual trust, we put pen and paper down. If someone doesn't honor his or her part, then we call in the lawyers or something. So I think it's time we collaborate. If we collaborate, then the issue of this smallholder doing 1 acre, that smallholder doing that acre will reduce. Right now, if I want to sell 2 bags of maize, I will be getting 300, 380. But if we come together as a farmer group or as a cooperative of smaller holder farmers, let's say we are 100, then we come to an aggregator and say, oh, we are from this community, we are a farmer group. Together we have 1,000 bags of maize to sell. The price automatically will shoot from 380 to 400. And that is because we aggregate together, we are giving the supplier or the purchaser value for money. Because if I have to take a motorcade, go to farmer A, pick 2 bags, go to farmer B, pick 2 bags. At the end, that cost of assembling will make me to reduce the purchasing price to 380. But if we are together as a group, we all submit it from our house, put it at the market square and say we have 1,000 bags. We will gather it on Thursday. Will you pick? Oh, am I picking the full loaded? Then I can now say, then I will buy it at this price. And because of our strength and the number we have, we can now argue for it. And that is what brings about the difficulty in the tomato industry we are facing. I had an opportunity to interact with some of the tomato women who goes to Burkina, and I said, there is tomato production in Palugu, there is tomato production in Avrongo. Why do you bypass all these communities and go to Burkina to buy? Then they say it has got to do with gathering. I go to farmer A, doing 10 acres, buy 3 bucks. Farmer B, doing 5 acres, buy 2 bucks. By the time I am done getting the full load, it will be about a week. And tomatoes are highly perishable. So the ones you got from farmer A on Monday, by the time you have the full load and you are loading farmer F's 100 boxes to make a full load, that one will start getting rotten and a whole lot. But it's better I go to Burkina, the farmers are in clusters, then I enter the location, they all come together and say, how many boxes do you want? I want 400 bucks. Then within 2 days, you are loaded and you are set off.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now your time. We'll take 2 questions. Please, the gentleman in the blue black at the back. Can somebody help to take the microphone there, please? Please be very brief, 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. I'm Sylvester Monadama. I'm from Cape Coast. First of all, please extend my time a bit. I want to brief my colleagues. Let me tell you how I started as a farmer first. A very brief.
But it's question.
Yes, it's question. I want to tell you something.
No,
yes, it's a
because
question.
of time.
It's a question, but I want to tell you why this question is coming up. This is even taking our time. What happened was I started as a beekeeper, 3 boxes, 3 hives, and I said when I was doing it domestically. We were consuming it, and I lost my job. I decided to go commercial. Can I see I had a help, and they gave me about 100 hives. Once I was doing it, initially it was a project to make sure pollination goes on. Then we get high yield in our locality for lime farmers. While this was going on, the farmers were like, they were complaining. Before they were liking it. Now I had to stop. I couldn't send my hives there, so I have to look for loans so that I set up my own farm so that I can take the hives there. Now to get a loan to set up this business was a problem. So my interest was to get government work before I can access loan, because that has been the nature of the whole thing. If you don't have government work to get a loan to start a business, it's very difficult. But I can't get this. I've been to several workshops and other things, but this one has improved my knowledge a bit. It's quite interesting because of the people they brought on board. My question is there any improvement? How are we going to be linked to these institutions so that it is not going to be there like if you are not government worker, you are not getting a loan?
So what you want is how to get a loan.
Oh yes, it's only a loan, farm input.
Farm input.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very simple. Okay, next question, please. Next question, please. There are two. Okay, we shall take the one. Please, you have 1 minute, just 1 minute to ask the question, and then we shall come and take.
My name is Isaac Ejui from Chifu Praso. Please, I want to ask. We have a student loan for those who are going to tertiary, and after they are getting employed, they pay that money. But the youth who are going to agriculture, do you have any policy for those people? Because the youth of Ghana are very, very industrious, very, very hardworking, but we don't have anything. So I want to ask if we have a family loan for the youth and how we can access it.
Thank you. Put your hands together for. I think next year we may have to bring some banks here, since loan is very important to our audience. Okay, the last question. There's a gentleman here. Please, there's a gentleman here. Yeah, please.
Please, I'm Yafe Frederick, and I'm a student of KNST, and then you talk about partnership. As a young guy, and then our madam made mention of mutual trust, and I do not have that mutual trust. How do I assess the legal form of going to partnership with other farmers? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the gentleman at the back here.
Please, I'm Samuel Kwekusakodia. Thanks to our prominent speakers here. It's quite disappointing that I saw the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ejiso on the banner, but he did not appear here. I would have wanted to put a question in regards to him. Earlier this month, I was at the regional office for the fisheries and crops. I started out working on a fish pond that I went there so as to look for possible support or advice on some of the things. And to my surprise, what I was told was that there isn't any such support at all. And unfortunately, before they would go to my farm to look at it, they had to, I had to fund their transport. There are two people, someone who is trying to put things together to start this. The pond is ready, how to stock it and other things. They had to take transportation in and out, and then it's something that really does not help. So I wanted to actually know if there's any such government support or any private support for some of us who are starting out on our business adventure.
Thank you very much. I think we've taken 4 questions. Because of time, we'll end it here. Then we'll take some few questions later. We'll leave it for our panel members to respond. You can choose any of the questions and then you respond to it. Okay.
Let me address my friends with the fish pond issue. It's very unfortunate that Honorable John Kuma and those people couldn't make it. It's for a very valid reasons. We had a call from them that they had a meeting last night, and then the meeting traveled into almost about 4 a.m. So very unfortunate, and they apologize for that. With your question, what I want to say is that don't worry. That is why we set up this platform, to engage ourselves and also to involve government agencies that are responsible for support like this. So I will employ that. Don't lose hope, okay? Let's keep pushing. Let's go. When we close, kindly see any of my team. We will make sure that we get you to any IP, and not only you, anybody here who needs support to start your agric farm or enterprise. We are ready to support you and train you to collaborate with everyone here to making sure that that dream of becoming an agri practitioner does not die. And that is my passion. That is the reason why we have set up this summit. that we will help you actualize your dreams and vision of becoming a millionaire farmer in the future. Say amen. So don't lose hope. I can see the disappointment in your face, but don't lose hope. Right after this summit, let's engage and see how we can support you so that you can start your fish farming. So that next year, like Bawa and Kisua were here, next year too, by the grace of God, you will also be standing here and testify of how your fish farming has been profiting you. Thank you.
Thank you.
On the issue of input credit, it all boils down like they speak one. I'm trying to remember the name. He said about reading. Right? One thing I know starting in the agri sector is that you need to find the information. You need money. You need to find it. Where am I going? Who am I contacting? How am I doing it? Before I became an entrepreneur, I knew there are other projects because personally I worked with a farmer organization up north. So I knew the support they were giving farmers, but I didn't know it extended. So when I started researching on how to raise money to start my business, because the input industry is very capital intensive, with reading around, I got to know of grants. The first grant I ever received was through the Tony Elumero Foundation, which was a $5,000 seed funding. As at now, we are talking every year. Every cycle starts from January and ends in December. So if you are lucky to be part of the selected ones, you just submit your bank account, you get your money. No stress, nothing else. You just need to show commitment and initiative that this is what I want to do and this is how beneficiary I think it will be to Ghanaians. If you are fortunate to be among the selected one, you get the money to go into your businesses. So we should find time and read. I find at least twice a week I sit down just to research grants or projects that are assisting farmers in my, my area of operations. The next one is also development organizations. There is GIZ running a project called the AgricBase, where they support agri-processing. They purchase equipment for processors, rice mill, blenders, industrial blenders, all of them, which can go as far as 10,000 euros and others. They give those support. So you can read through. Social media is very influential when it comes to letting you know what is out there. You join the GIZ platform, they will call for application. Oh, we are interested in people who are doing organic farming. Are you in organic farming? Then you now apply, go through 3 months virtual training or in physical training. When you are done, you get the support. SMV is doing some in Kumasi and Eastern region for green businesses, where people get as high as 100,000, 60,000 to pump into their businesses. There are also government institutions up north. I don't know about the southern part. There is GASEP and SAPEP. SAPEP is for commercial farmers, where you say, I have 100 acres, I want to farm. Then you get the input supply to you on credit from fertilizer, seed, agrochemicals on credit. After producing, you repay back the money. Then the following year you can receive some. SAPEP was for smallholder farmers. Below 5 acres, you can get input on credit. Farm, when you are done, you repay. There are also startups all over Ghana that are supporting agri-businesses. My organization like this also work with smallholder farmers. We give them the input on credits. After, that's the outgoer scheme we run. After the production season, they repay back either with maize or with money worth the cost of input. So I think we should find time, just buy some 1 CD bundle, make commitments. You can mute TikTok and other things. Then you research, you type, I want to go into fish farming. or organizations supporting fish farmers, grant for fish farmers, those things will give you an answer. I always say applying for grant is easy because one, the only commitment you are giving is time and access to internet. So if you buy data and all those things, the next is to show that you are committed to whatever you are talking about. Not because they say they are giving money to bee farmers. I'm not interested, but because I think I can put English together, I go and apply. At the end, you will not be successful. And at the end, whatever money you get are non-refundable. And people are growing businesses through grants and such support.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, also soon we draw the curtains here. My panelists, thank you very much for coming and thank you very much for listening. God bless you.
It is important that we get to break them down so that every one of us can appreciate what has been shared here. So we are going to give extra opportunity for questions around all that has been shared. Since the experts are still here, then they can take up some of these questions and be able to bring it down properly so that we all live here and be doers of what we have heard. Okay, I think one thing that is very, very clear on this platform is the fact that whatever you want to do, don't just continue to be thinking about it, but act on it so that at the end of the day, it becomes very tangible. Start small, but act now so that you can go further. So, okay, you are the one holding the microphone. So, please, any question as far as what has been discussed here is concerned, so that the experts are here, we'll give them opportunity to help you to appreciate very well whatever concepts they came here to discuss. So you show by hand so that he can come to you and then he can give you the microphone to speak. I think there's a hand here. There's a hand there. Oh, okay. So let's start from there. You come there.
Hello. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Ando Boabin Collins, a third-year agricultural engineering student. Last year, I was here for Ghana Youth Agriculture Summit. The convener made a lot of promises to the university, but as at now, there is nothing that shows on the university campus. I also want to know why they have not partnered with the Agric Engineering Department. Thank you.
Okay. So partnership with the Agric Engineering Department so that things to do with mechanization and all that in the production phase of the value chain can be exploited. Okay, so that will be spoken to.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay.
My name is Oswald Asuma and I'm a student of KSTs. Please, last year we were here and Reverend Evans made us aware that we'll be provided with some of the crops. But they did call back to, unfortunately, we didn't get the crops as he promised. So we want to know whether this year too is going to be the same or it's going to be a change.
Okay, no, wait. I want you to come clear. You mean you'll be provided with crops?
Yes, some crops to grow.
Okay, some seeds and seedlings to grow. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Ejiri Isaac.
Okay.
2020 district best farmer for Trifueti Mukwa.
Okay.
District.
Okay.
In fact, last year I was here.
You think that your resources are not enough, it is important that you engage in some partnership for sort, and that was also discussed. So you have a friend in church, a friend at home, talk to that person and say that, can we together do this? I'm sure that when you do that, there's no challenge, there's no problem you cannot overcome. So you start small, act on it, and be able to make the headway. Otherwise, agric as it is always a bet between you and God. You know it. So you put something in the soil, you expect some rains to come. If nature doesn't give you rain, there's nothing you can do. So challenges are many in the agribusiness space. Challenges are many wherever you find yourself. But it's important that when we have the right strategies, we can overcome these challenges and be able to learn as we go. I think that's what I would say about that one. So in terms of collaboration with the mechanization department, so that opportunities there can be exploited. And then for secondary schools who wanted some support in terms of seedlings and seeds to plant, at least to have some gardening in the school, what is there for them?
Hello. Yes. First of all, the promises. I don't know whether I did make any promises that my brother was talking about. But let me say this, that from last year to up to now, those who were very serious, like Bauer and others, have already assessed their input and support already, and they are on the ground, and he is here, and that is the evidence. So I don't understand what my brother was saying, that we promised them seedlings and they didn't get. He actually came for the seedlings. Cassava, I do cassava. So he pursued me to get the cassava materials to plant in his field. And by the grace of God, he has his own 2 plots of cassava farm. Yes, just yesterday I was telling him that there is a market ready. Some buyer have approached me to to get his cassava off the ground and then get his money to him. So the seedling that you were talking about, I don't know which type of seedling you were talking about, but I am a cassava farmer. So if you want cassava sticks, right after here, see me, I'll get you some. Apart from that, if you need any other seedlings, you write your name with our office and then let us know exactly what you are doing. Then, you see, the fact of the matter is that just you calling and saying that you need seedling does not translate to practically getting the seedling. We have to engage a little bit, come and see where you are doing your farm, whether indeed you have a land. If you don't have the land, then we can now find a way of getting you a land and then also helping you to plow the land and then getting you the seedling that you are talking about. So it is a process or a procedure, all right? I'm very impressed about the desire to do that, but let's use the proper procedure in order to assess what we are looking for. So let me also take this opportunity to reiterate the fact that whatever you are looking forward to doing, please, right after here, get my team, write your name, the kind of crop you want to do or livestock you want to do, and then let's take the conversation further. We will come to where you are to assess the place. Even if you don't have it and you have the desire, what I am looking forward to is to build the interest. So you don't even have the land. Like Power didn't even know that there was a land somewhere for him. All that he needed to do was to appear here and to get the inspiration. So once you catch the inspiration and the vision, that is the springboard to move it to your next level. So as for the seedlings, as for the inputs and all that, we can secure them for you. But we have to see your skin in the game by you taking a small step. Okay, by saying that I have been able to acquire this land, I have prepared this land, it's ready. Please come and inspect my land. Then, as soon as we come there, my team will make sure that we will advance whatever you are looking forward to giving to you. So, please, if you didn't get your seedlings, probably you were waiting for me to look for you to hand over the seedlings to you. From today, don't wait for me. Please, come to the office and then come and let's take it further from there. Just like last month ago, we had a lot of people that approached the office and got almost about 10 of them at a go. Each and every one got 1,000 Ghana cedi cash from my office. Oh, I thought you clap your hands together for me. To invest into their farm. And this money came from my office with the support that I got from my cassava farm. The profit I got, I decided to share with the young people who were ready to go into it. You get it? Okay. So that is where we are. Kisiwa, for instance, got 2,000 Ghana cedi cash because she's a woman and I wanted to encourage her to do more, to inspire her more. So she got more. She got 2,000. You get it? So please, just make yourself available by being passionate about you going into the field. But if you are waiting for me to call you before you move, it may take long because we are always on the move. Maybe whilst you are waiting for me, somebody has already caught me up. We are moving to his field to inspect it. So I beg you, right from here, make sure that you get your names and your details to my office. My teams are all around, all the watchers, the people who are there. Make sure that the area of the crop that you want to do, the livestock you want to do, get it ready. Let's come and see where you are. There was another guy, Gideon. Gideon met me somewhere and then told me that he came for the summit last year, and by inspiration that he got from here, he has decided to use his own national service allowance to start his own coconut market business, marketing. So he was selling coconut with tie at the Ayugasi here. And I was inspired. I was very impressed. And he said he wanted to do lettuce. I gave him money. He started his lettuce farm. So it's all about you taking the first step. First step is everything. First step is everything. Everybody say first step. First. It all starts with first step. Once you start with first step, the rest will come. Bauer started with 2 plots of land. Today, somebody has donated 10 acres of land to him free of charge. Somebody just heard him an interview on Joy News, and the person called him from Begro that I don't know you, you don't know me, but because you are so young and you are passionate to go into agriculture and farming, I have 10-acre land lying down there. I don't need it. If you want it, come and take it. I've plowed it. Just come and take it. And today he's an owner of a 10-acre plot or land. It all starts with the first step. Say first step. First step. And I'm saying to say that, please, the time is now. We are the people going to change Ghana. And I bet you we will change Ghana indeed. We will change Ghana. Are you hearing me? We will do it. We will make Ghana full secure nation in the next 10 years. Okay. We are reaching over 1 million people in the next 10 years. In the next 10 years, many of you will be commercial farmers. You will own 100-acre coconut farm. Some of you will have 200 acres of tomato farms. Okay? Bright, where's Bright? Our MC Bright. Bright owns over 100-acre coconut farm. Put yours together. 100 acres. Okay. Fosu here owns plantain. He's building a plantain processing factory in his constituency. Mr. Ellison here is a farmer who owns a farm college, a tropical agricultural college in the Western North. My dear sister here is a farmer in the poultry industry and executive coach. Sepenika here is all the way from Wale Wale. She owns farmer groups and owns vegetable farm. She has now entered into rice farming and building rice processing plants. My dear doctor here is a farmer and a lecturer at the same time. So it is possible for everybody to be involved. You don't have to see yourself as somebody who cannot be counted. All that you need to do is to be inspired that it is possible. Say it is possible. So next year by this time, I want to see 200 of you who have already ventured into their own agri-business ventures and doing well in the space. Say amen. And we are here to help you. We are here to help you. Whatever it takes to help you, we will help you. Some of you are saying, we promise you. Yes, we promise you. But we were also being promised somewhere. So we're waiting for the promise to arrive so that your promise also will arrive. The promise didn't arrive. That is why maybe yours didn't arrive. But I tell you what, next year by this time, your agri-business will be in progress. Thank you.
Okay. So I think that's it. For the person who asked about collaboration with the mechanization department, yes. So it's the right thing. I am also a member of the team. We'll take it up so that agriculture practice needs to be mechanized in any way possible. So it's important that you have such collaboration so that whatever technologies that will be developed out of it, the smallholder farmer will be the benefit of this. So we'll take the last round of questions, perhaps some 4 questions, And that will bring us to the end of the show. The last round of questions.
Thank you. My name is Evans Ankuma Jr. I belong to the Kariska team. One thing that Kariska does is to engage the industry. Our recent engagement with one of the biggest banks in the agric financing sector indicated that there is a challenge with agri financing in that they have a problem with de-risking agriculture. And I think Pastor Eric talked about it. I don't know, is there anything we are doing to de-risk agriculture to attract funding from these institutions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm Stephen. Yes, so it's right for Pastor to say that everybody should engage in agriculture. And I'm sure here that there are some people still who might not directly be involved in the agriculture, the farming itself, but they have the resource to support anybody who is doing the farming. So I want to know what are the platforms available for these people to invest in these agriculture activities and still get their money back. If there is any kind of partnership that Pastor and his institution have that is available for them. Thank you.
Okay, please. My question is, how can we influence Ghanaians to use our agricultural produce than the foreign ones?
Okay, I think that, you see, it appears to me no lady has asked a question. For the purpose of gender transformative change, yes, allow the lady to ask that question. So give the microphone to a lady to ask a question.
Thank you. I'm Abina Kusiwa from Techimai. Blue is great. My question is about our land issues. I, for instance, when I'm to start my pepper farming, I suffered before getting the land. So now my question is, what support are they giving to us? Because I can see most of the youth are interested to go into the farming, but the land issue is now our headache. So what support are they going to do to support us? Because now even the cash crops, the cashew and the cocoa trees are being cut down and sold by our chief. So are they having some support or advice for our chief for them to grant us the land for the farming? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I think that we have 4 questions and that should come again. No, that should end it.
No, there's a last question.
Okay.
I want to thank all the speakers for the knowledge they've shared with us.
Okay.
By name Ibrahim Mubarak from Setre Central, a biological science teacher. All right, let me amplify my voice. The question is, for all the talk I heard, there was nothing on climate change. But when you monitor the foreign media, most of the time you talk about this climate change. So I would like to know the impact of climate change on the agriculture sector and how are the farmers adapting to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll take them in order so that then we can okay, so there's still a lady who has his hand up. I think let's give the last chance to the lady. When she asks a question, we'll end it. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much. I'm Priscilla from the College of Tropical Agriculture. My question is different, but I still want to ask. You know, most of the youth over here, I believe after the summit, they would want to venture into agriculture or study agriculture in colleges and universities. Now, my question is, during Farmers' Day, they mostly award those who have already made it in life. So the starters, I mean the young ones who are already into the agric, they are not being motivated by their works. So what are you doing to encourage them to go into the agric? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so quickly let's attempt some explanations or provide some information on the questions that have been raised here. I think the first one has to do with de-risking agriculture so that there can be investments in it. All of us must understand that there's the Ghana Agriculture Insurance Pool now that is working. Said that now if you want to take up an agricultural loan, I'm sure that by next year and all, a lot more banks will be on. But until today, there are few banks that are working with them. So if you want to do that, the Ghana Agriculture Insurance Pool is there to support, to give at least, I know of crop index that has been given to farmers in the northern region around soya bean and some other value chain. And they are also giving some support also even to poultry farmers and all. So the Ghana Agriculture Insurance Pool is there to support so that agriculture can be de-risked. I mean, as a country, we are far behind that we don't have such an avenue to ensure that people can invest in agriculture. So it's one of the things that is ongoing. And then I think that if it comes to mainstream, then it will support so that anybody who wants to go for loan, at least you have some insurance backing to show that my farm is insured. Therefore, whoever is investing in there understands and be able to do. I think that one ties in with what avenues are there for absentee farmers, for example, so that I have money. I want to invest in this person to grow this or that. And then that person will give me some benefit at the end of the day. So what benefit are there? For example, the Agric Summit office, as Pastor Iman keeps saying, is there to engage in this respect, to ensure that your money goes to the right person who will use it, and then be able to give you some profit. Whatever it is, you need to engage the person to understand that in the production is in, give or take perhaps maybe 5% profit will come out of it, so that you can also make some profit out of your investment that you put in there. So that office is there to ensure that we can engage. I think that from here, if you go out there, you can have contact of this office to ensure that we guide you and support you in investing rightly. Okay, so that's platforms to invest. The impact of climate change. I think you are right, and for me, spot on, by saying that this major topic that is hampering a lot of growth in the agribusiness space was not touched on. I mean, because of time, really, if we take a look at the person who asked the question, when we finish, I'll hand you over this sheet to see. So it was what we were going to discuss with the panel discussion here, but we needed to just allow for questions. That's also important to ensure that you sit down. But yes, things are changing. The climate is changing. So when you expect rains, they don't come. When they come as many as you may not need it. And that's very rare. All of us are seeing it. Today, nobody can tell you that we plant in January or we plant in whatever month. You cannot determine. So, as much as possible, all these things are signs of climate change. It has so much impact on agriculture and even on other phases of the value chain. So, your plant can go through some stress because of high temperatures and all that. It has so much impact on agriculture. What is important is that there are technologies to overcome some of these effects. So there are people who today are even planting under solar panels, for example, just to make sure that the panels give enough shade for the land so that you can grow. There are so many things that is going on. People are going into doing composting to ensure that even if they cannot use the inorganic fertilizer, they are using that to fertilize their soil. People are going into all manner of technologies just to ensure that they are able to. I just went through one young person who is doing what we call compost tea. So in his farm, he has a digester made of a barrel. He's put there, and he's put all manner of kitchen waste and all that into it, so that as soon as they decompose and he puts water into it, he turns on the tap. He's using that to fertilize his vegetables. So there are so many technologies, and if you read around, you get to understand best practices elsewhere and be able to also tap into it and be able to do that. For buying made in Ghana agricultural produce, I think that all of us must be examples. Okay, so as young people developing taste for agricultural produce, it's important that we buy from our own country, so that all of us, if we begin to buy from our own country, then we'll be better off. Okay, if you dare say that I want to eat made in Ghana rice, for example, which is more nutritious by far, because it's done here and doesn't go through all manner of things, then the farmers will be in business, okay, and they will continue to produce for us. So let's all of us develop taste for our own produce that has been done here, so that we can support the farmers to continue to produce, and all of us will be better people. In respect of encouraging younger people, yes, of course, awards are done, and they are looking at all manner of things you must have to be able to win the national awards. However, I think that we have learned to encourage ourselves, that as a matter of fact, if you are not awarded today, tomorrow you will be awarded. So let's continue to do what we are doing as young people. However small, there will be opportunity to award you some other time. And I think platforms such as what we are having, it is also an award in some respect. So this platform is encouraging young people to go into agriculture, and that is also a way of awarding you. I think apart from this, there's also support for acquisition of land. Yes, we've gone through so many stages. I mean, until recently, even if you are a woman in Ghana, you couldn't have bought land and have a land title. But there are changes in the law to allow this to happen. What I will say is that, just like one of the speakers shared with us, it is important to partner. So you go and say that I cannot pay for land. However, for the farm we are going to have on it, you, the landowner, will have some percentage in the enterprise. If you go that way, if you go to the Tachima area, there's some farms, a very huge farm. There were female students who were taught around tractor operation and maintenance. And these across Ghana, this was a GIZ project. So when it was done, I happened to be one of the external verifiers. So I went into that farm. It's a huge land. Okay. Now, even when we were touring the place in a pickup, it took so long to cover. So long to cover. What I asked was that, so how were you able to buy this land? And I'm told that it is just an understanding between the farmer and the chiefs. Number of chiefs around that place come together. So what they did was that whatever produce we have on this farm, you have 10% on it. Okay, so all the chiefs gave their land. And that huge land that is there was not bought, was not paid for upfront. So it's important that we look at ways by which we can go around some of these issues, so that we will be able to do what we want to do. Okay, so I find that that is all we had. And please, one thing that we are living here with is the fact that don't keep dreaming. Act on your dreams, and you will be a better person tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your kind attention. We'll invite Pastor Evans to give us his closing remarks quickly. Then all other things will be done. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ellison Usifojo. Let's put us together for Mr. Ellison Usifojo, very experienced agric practitioner. Before I bring my closing remarks, I would like to invite Dr. Albert Amwako, principal of Kwadaso Agric College, to come and give us a few words before we run off.
Thank you, Reverend. There's some few things I also want to just also add up. On the issue of the KSTS student who was asking about the input, we have the MasterCard Foundation, we have the Blue Skies. You see, some of you, when they give you these things, we come back and realize that nothing has happened. But you're always asking for more. In fact, in the 90s, when we were in Opokuari, I went there in 91, we were feeding the school, the dining hall, cabbage, lettuce, and everything. But these days, if you go there, it's no more like that. So for me, just last year, I think Esrom Secondary School in the Eastern Region, they won the Blue Skies school farm competition. And I was sad at this Opokuari there because in the 90s, we used to have so much vegetables. We have our own cattle, we have piggery. But these days, if you go there, the whole place is being used for development as if agric is not so important. So please, and to my quite a few students also here, you have seen the industry players here, please. In June, we are sending out about 342 students for internship. In fact, my area of research, that's where I'm working at. We want to know what industry wants from our students. Then we can have a synergy or a marriage to give you what you want. Because a lot of students goes outside and the world of employment is telling them that they are not ready for the job market. So the question is it coming from the colleges where we are training them, or is coming from industry players? So my students try to talk to the industry players or those in agric space here and let them know the kind of, in fact, somebody talk about even the attitude. In fact, my other architect, the one looking for MP, also telling me that these days, the soft skills, the attitude. There was somebody who went for attachment. He's telling the district director of agric that for me, I can come to work Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Imagine. What attitude is that? You tell him to do this, he wants to do the opposite. So these are things that we have started also building the capacity in that. Because for the first class and those things, it's so common, people are getting it. But the attitude and the field work is where the problem is. Because like Reverend is saying, all of you in this room, if you have sack farm, I mean, ordinary sack, so if you finish using your rice, the sack, and you put in your, even the compost or your black soil, what have you, you have about 20 at the back of the house. If you come to my place in Tema, that is what we do. We do this sack farming, even sports buckets, tin tomatoes containers, that are not. We can use all these things to do a lot of planting, lettuce, and those things. They can do that. So please, after today's program, let's see that when we come to your place, we will see that something is happening. Reverend, thanks so much. That's what I would say. And God bless us all.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank all the participating schools and their teachers for your kindness in bringing your students. And I want to say that may the Lord bless you, and also know that many of the schools have started their own school farms. Can we clap for them? I'm told that Konongo has their own school farm after last year's inspiration and this summit. They have their own school farm. I'm also told that St. Louis has their own school farm, and I think one of the schools also. So thank you so much for leading the way and being a good example. I also want to thank my guests for coming. I would like to thank Principal Dr. Albert Amako. Let's appreciate him again. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, doctors. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Mr. Bright Evans Darko, head of SME Ghana Exim Bank. Let's appreciate him. Thank you thank you so much. He's a farmer, very passionate, and he's a good man. Thank you so much. I have Mrs. Doris Ahiati. Let's appreciate her all the way from Accra, Chief Executive Officer of Crescendo, and Executive Coach, a farmer as well. I have my own sister, Sepenika Dako, from Wale Wale. Let's appreciate her. Yale Pania Awadi, and she's a good person. She's into farming. I like her so much because she has been able to overcome the hard conditions in that part of the country to become an inspiration to many of our young women. And I think that she deserves another round of applause. Come on, put your hands together for her. I would also want to thank Dr. Matilda Owusu-Bio for her stellar performance and delivery. Let's appreciate her. Let's appreciate her. Let's appreciate her. I got a call that doctor was looking for me, and according to her, she has been calling and calling and calling, no response. So the day that I called her back, she was surprised. And when I engaged her, I realized that she's a good person who has so much passion to be part of what we are doing. That is why she's here. Let's appreciate her. Thank you so much, doctor. I like people who are passionate about what they look for. And when I see them, I know that these are the people. And I would like to appreciate her. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I think some of my people are outside. But I want to thank the media people, Ghana, AgricToday. Let's appreciate AgricToday crew all the way from Accra. Stephen, where is Stephen? Where is Stephen? Let's appreciate Stephen. Stephen, thank you. Stephen has believed in this vision right from last year. And thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you for coming with your team. And I want to thank my team as well. Let's appreciate all my team. Hard-working team. Where's Pastor Prince and Co. Caleb? These are powerful guys. And I want to thank all of you, the ushers and every one of you. I want you to stand on your feet. And I want every one of you to stand on your feet. We are just about closing. And I want to know that there is something about Agric that I believe that has the potential to change the destiny of Ghana. Are you hearing me? Oh, are you hearing me, somebody? All that I am looking forward to is that for the next 5 years, many of us here would have become self-sufficient financially through agriculture. Oh, I didn't hear. I don't know whether hearing or clapping. This is not church. You know, especially our women. I want our young girls and young people here, young women here, to be inspired so much. Inspired so much by the example of Doris, Matilda, and Sepenika, that you are ready to break the external and the internal circumstances and conditions that militate against girls and women in pioneering ventures in the agribusiness. Are you hearing me? And it is possible. Say it is possible. Let's say it again. It is possible. If only you can believe. If only you can believe. If only you can believe. Are you hearing me, somebody? We need men and women who in the next 2 years will be standing here and telling all of us that I came to this summit and I didn't know that I will become a farmer in the future. And today, I am a farmer. I am feeding my family. I am feeding my extended family. I am financially self-sufficient. I am fine. I am not running away from Ghana. I am contributing to the development of our nation. And it must start from us. Put your hand on your heart. Tell yourself, it must start with me. Okay, say it again. It must start with me. We are ready. We are ready. With my team, we are ready to support everyone who is here. No matter, and everyone watching us online, on Ghana, on AgricToday, on my page, Evans Tremensa, on the Ghana Youth Agric Summit page, anyone watching from all over the world. I want you to know that Ghana is ready to champion food security to the youth of Ghana. We are ready. we are calling on the sitting government, the current government, to help the youth, to bring their attention to the youth, to make time for the youth. We are calling the government of Ghana, the current government, to make sure that they earmark funding support for young people who are ready to venture into agric, and to also be there with them, to be there with them, not just dole out money, but to be there with us and inspire us and help us to get there. We are calling on the government to do something about fertilizer prices. Today fertilizer is 15 MPK is 460 Ghana cedi. So how can a young boy like you, please come, how can a young boy like you deciding to go into agric, how can he afford 460 Ghana cedi, and you will need about 3 for 1 acre? How can he do that? So we need our government to rise up to the occasion. We are calling on the government. We are calling on the Minister of Agric, the new Minister of Agric that has been approved. We need you to step into the game and step up into the game and look to the direction of the young people. The new Minister of Agric, please, Honorable Brian Champo, we are calling on you. The young people are ready. We are not lazy. We are not like a desica. We are not vigilant. We are the energy. All that we are calling on you, government, is that step up the game, because we are ready to work. We are ready to work. We are not ready to run through Libya on the desert to risk our life to Italy and Europe. We are ready to work, but we need you to step up, because we have given you the mandate to manage the resources of the nation. And therefore, as a government, you must be up to task, because we are calling on you. The youth of Ghana are ready to move into agribusiness. And so therefore, government of Ghana, Ministry of Agric, we need you to step up. We need you. This is not about politics. This is about the destiny of our lives and the future of our children. We are ready to work in Ghana. We are ready to stay here in Ghana. Please go back. We are ready to stay here in Ghana. We are ready to contribute to the nation building of our own country, so that in the future, your children, my children, will be secure. When the youth are not working, it's a national security threat. When young people don't have jobs, it has the propensity to create confusion and anarchy in the system. That is why we are calling on the government. I am using this platform to call on the government. Please, we the youth, we are ready. Step up. Reach out to us. We are ready to collaborate with you. We are ready to open our arms to you. We are ready to go all the way to the rural areas, villages, as far as we want to go, and do farming, do agribusiness, buy and sell, get into the system. But we need your support. Government, we need your support. Please. A lot of people came here and they're asking for inputs, support, training. How are we going to get it done? Please. And those of us who are here, don't let us take government resources for granted. When the resources come, don't say that a bicycle, when you get the support, no matter how little the support is, utilize it for the purpose for which you receive it. I must speak to somebody here at all. Because for the support, it will come. But somebody spoke about character. Somebody spoke about attitude. Doctor was speaking about behavioral attitude, our mentality. What do you call it? Entitlement mentality must be broken today. That entitlement mentality. Some of you are sitting aloof and say that until government helps me, until government helps me, until government comes to my aid, I am not going anywhere. I am not working. I will Am I speaking to somebody here at all? Please, from today, I'm begging you. I'm so passionate. I want to see many of us, or all of us here, driving the agricultural space and making maximum benefit for our nation. It is possible. It is possible. We are ready to go all out. We are ready to lead you. We are ready to inspire you. We are ready to mentor as many as are ready to get into this space. It's so beautiful. Farming is beautiful. Agribusiness is so awesome. There is no better time like this. There is no better time like this. It is time for Africa. It is time for Ghana. And as I bring my word to a close, I want to say that don't lose hope. Don't give up. Don't say that there is no hope for our nation. There is so much hope for us in this country. Ghana is so blessed. Somebody was talking about land. How do we access land with the chiefs? A good call. We will engage stakeholders. We will talk to Nananom. We will seek the help of government institutions, district assemblies, and those who matter in the space to making sure that in every district and communities we have engaged those who matter, the people who are leaders in those communities, to earmark land banks for those communities, so that if you are interested in going into farming in whichever area in the farming or in the agribusiness, you can access land and start your own agri enterprise. It is my hope next year by this time, many of you have been turned into a beautiful agribusiness practitioners, contributing in one way or the other to the building of our nation, making our Ghana prosperous, making your life prosperous, and making our nation a beautiful one to be attracted by all foreigners into the system to see what we are doing. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord favor you. Amen. All right. So once I'm a pastor, we have to close. So I'll pray for you so that we close. Is that okay? Are you okay with that? All right. All right. And then when we close, we have beautiful packages for our participating schools. And then our ushers will handle that by the schools. We have an arrangement with them. We'll make sure that we satisfy each and every school. All right? Okay. Raise up your hand. Quickly raise up your hand. This one is agricultural prayer. Raise up your hand. Father, we are grateful. Thank you for our nation, Ghana. Thank you for giving us this beautiful country. Father, this is the time for Ghana. This is the time for the youth of Ghana. This is the time for agriculture to become a different space altogether. We, the young people of Ghana, we are ready. We have opened our arms and our heart to get into this space, to work hard, to break all the resistance and become agri-food practitioners, contributing to the full security and the full sovereignty of our nation. Lord, we are willing. We need grace. We need strength. We need collaboration. We need partnership. We need government intervention, government support, government help, private sector help, private sector support, and everyone here involved, that we will be inspired to at least take a step in the agribusiness space to contribute to food security, to helping climate action and mitigating climate, to helping our young people, the youth, women, and everyone involved to become better than we are today. I ask that anybody who is dreaming in his heart, anybody who is dreaming and visualizing that one day
he want to be in the agri-tech, agri-business space. Lord, open that door for the person. Open that opportunity for the person. Even the person who doesn't even think that he can receive help from anywhere. You are the helper of the helpless. Help everyone believing you for help. Help everyone believing you for help. Help our country, Ghana, Lord. Let us become movers and shakers of the agri-industry in Ghana in the name of Jesus. Everyone that came from far and near, Lord, as we are going, we are asking for journey mercies, traveling mercies, those who came from Cape Coast, from the north, from the Volta region, from the central region, from the Greater Accra region, from Bono East, Bono region, Ahafu region, and all the 16 regions of Ghana. We are asking for journey mercies. Protect us and bless us. As we go back and we lie down on our bed, may we have dreams about agri-businesses. May agri-business ideas begin to be birthed from here. May we become the Silicon Valley of agri-businesses. One day, we will host Ghana Youth Agri Summit Agro Festival. And it's going to be the biggest agro festival in Africa. Over 50,000 participants are coming to exhibit all their goods, their products, their services, because you nurtured us from here many years ago. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. So we have our mentors here. Please, when we close, don't run away. They are here to mentor. Take pictures, as many as you want to take with them. As for your memories, go and post them on social media. Take their numbers, call them, take them as your mentor, as your inspirers, and then see you next year. The same day, the same month. See you next year. When you hear of Ghana Youth Agri Summit, see you. Please, opportunities are there. Make sure that if you haven't written your name and your number, go out there, write your name, your number, and then let's start talking. Those of you who want to go into palm fruit, palm farming, coconut farming, vegetables, piggery, fish farming, aquaculture, any of the areas, please go and write your name down there, and then we will make sure that we engage every one of you. From next month, we have today's 1st April, next month May, trainings will start for all these groups in various locations. Trainings will start. Then assessment of your lands will also start. Then funding will come in. Then we'll move forward, because we don't want to wait. We want to start as soon as possible so that we can grow our food system in the country. God richly bless you, and see you again next year.
PraiseZion.com.
Shana bayana bayana saka. Dibi dipa dia duda kandia da basha.